Welcome to Cranky Live Sports Talk, where passion meets action.
Hey sports fans, I am Cranky, and this is the Cranky Live Sports Talk, the podcast where we dive deep into the hottest topics, the biggest games, and the most controversial moments in sports.
Whether it's football, basketball, track and field, cricket, or soccer, we've got you covered with expert analysis, insider interviews, and unfiltered opinions.
Join me as I chat with the biggest names in sports, get exclusive insights and stories you won't hear anywhere else.
Cranky Live Sports Talk is where you can hear the real talk, the hard-hitting questions, and the hottest takes.
So, if you're a true sports fanatic, you don't want to miss out? Subscribe now to the Cranky Live Sports Talk on YouTube and hit that bell icon to never miss an episode.
Cranky Live Sports Talk, where sports come alive. Subscribe today.
Good evening. I don't know, YouTube seems to be advertising in the middle of my introduction. Good evening, everyone. I'm not sure what YouTube is doing, but they're advertising in the middle of my introduction nowadays. And it's such a beautiful introduction. Not sure what that's all about, but let me know if you can hear me, everyone. Before I start going to my long monologue, let me know if you can hear me. Not seeing any comments so far. Can you hear me, chorus? Let me know if you can hear me. I'm going to go on this long monologue, and then you guys will tell me that you can't hear a word I'm saying. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me, chorus. I can hear my mic good. Bless up, Eco Rix. Thanks for joining. Eco and chorus, let me know if you can hear me. Testing. Can you hear me? Yep, loud and clear. All right, good. So I had, bless up, Carl. I had no plan to do a video today, people. Seriously, no plan to do a video. But having said that, I was on YouTube for a little bit after going out to a meeting this afternoon. I came back after 12, I think it's about 12 or so. Yeah, after 12, about 1. And I realized that there are a bunch of people talking about the whole recruiting of Mason Greenwood. And I was going to do a 10-minute video and then realize I would, bless up Andrew, thanks for joining. I would not be doing the subject justice by doing a 10-minute video. And also, people may say, Cranky, so here you go, you lead yourself again. I wasn't happy with what people were doing. It was very topical. It was almost trivial. And I was like, is that how we do this? Really? So I said, and given it's a short period, because when I do these videos on people, I take my time to do research, you know. If I'm going to do something, it's going to take me 7-8 hours to do enough research to try to bring what I consider to be quality content to the discussion. Sorry. I'm man of God. Never. And let me start with people. Devon, man of God, Ernest. When I do, I start get much more subscribers because I can't call name. Andrew, Eco, Carl, Chorus. I'm not say Juras abandoned me today. Bless up everyone. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you being here. I miss it. You know, I'm not like that. What is it about? You know, if we try a different method, but they likes them and the people in my chat. But anyway, I decided that, you know what, I have to tackle this topic. So if you have a weak heart, you need to leave the program now. I tell you the truth. Because if me are going on something, I try to go as deep as possible, even though I didn't have enough time to do enough research, real in-depth research, for bring the content I want to. But whatever topical research and information I could gather, we go walk through it. If you have a weak heart, don't stay up on this because you may not like me when this is done. Not saying where I come out, because I'm going to make the case for and against Mason Greenwood, actually. That's part of the discussion. But I want to bring context to the discussion, which is we talked about what transpired. We talked about Man U investigation. And we give some parallels and some examples of these things that have happened in the past with other individuals and how they all materialize, right? I think that's a fair way to do it. just going on talking for 10 minutes without any substance to the discussion to me on a very substantive topic and one that requires a lot of scrutiny is not doing it justice. I mean, I'll stop because I'm 19 people and 11 likes. Me now move to the reach 19. Me serious, me now move. If me come home after 1 o'clock, I'm gonna spend the last 4 hours I do my research and so me not move people to me see. You know, I said to myself, you know what? You know what I do? Here's me asking people. Should I close the show down and don't do the topic? No, I'm actually dead serious about that. Because we never planned for work today. Can we call this work, you know? Should I close it down and do nothing? And we just talk about something. We can talk about McClaren and may have some ideas about why things we need to focus on. So no wonder that instead I tackle this subject, even though I did a little bit of research on it. Because me can't come here. I don't know, me whine and complain about this, and I say, I stop talking about it now. But when I come home at 1 o'clock, 12:31, after me eat lunch, I spend the rest of the 4 hours, I read up on the thing first, because I watched the video and I'm like, you know what? I started doing the 10-minute video and says, 10 minutes does not do this justice. It doesn't make sense doing 10 minutes. We got to do better than that. It's a serious topic, right? So if we're not coming and not like the video, then I waste my time and your time. I mean, that's serious. Me just close the show down. Seriously. It don't make sense. Waste of time. People like the very nice topical talk about the same thing. What the 5-team McClaren can do, what the 3-team McClaren can do, what the 2-team McClaren can do. After a while, people may get tired. Me not depend on the corner talk. We have a wide open forum. It's a public forum. We need to have broad-based, substantive talk about serious topics, right? And not on joke thing. You know, so people make it a joke. So, okay, let's keep going. I say 20 people, I say 14 likes. That now work for people. I tell you the truth today. Now work for me. And by the way, I take a sabbatical. I decided to boy, YouTube thing, I give me a headache because too much work. All right, we'll talk about this. So here's the thing, people. So Macy Greenwood was charged in January 2022 with assault, rape, number of different charges as it relates to his girlfriend, right? As I said before, I want to do some justice. So someone not gonna like some of the things I may have put up, but I said I got people. If you do this thing the right way, I have to do it the right way. So I'm gonna start up by doing this because sometimes pictures sometimes tell 1,000 words. I take the place of 1,000 words, so it's important for us to use some of that. And don't ask me when we come out with Macy Greenwood, because I'm not gonna answer you. So Macy Greenwood, who at the time I think was about 19 years old. This is 2022, 2024 now. I think about 21, 22, 19, 20 then. England international, brilliant footballer, scored more goals for Man U as a teenager than Wayne Rooney, Giggs, Ronaldo people. Quality, exceptional football. Andrew Hines, listen to the person background. You can ask the question, Andrew Hines. Just listen up. Quality footballer. In the England team with all these very good players at 19 years old. Can play left wing, can play right wing, can play center forward. Can shoot with him left foot, can shoot with him right foot. Speed, skill, position, ball retention, has it all. The world is oyster, sky's the limit. Brilliant footballer. Right? And if he wasn't, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Brilliant footballer, England international at 19 as a teenager, probably may not have the same profile as Billingham, for example, but wouldn't be far down the line from the player in terms of what his quality was at the time when he was arrested in 2022, January 2022. Went to what they had during COVID. They had a tournament. What was that? In Norway? I forgot where it was. But both he and Foden got in trouble for breaking curfew, having girl in their room, right? And he had a girlfriend at the time. Same girlfriend, actually. So someone who have a lot of qualities, which when you're an exceptional talent, and enough of them are a hypocrite, you know. Hypocrite, enough of them. Hypocrite. Enough, I should say enough of we are hypocrite in life. Because when you have an exceptional talent as a person, you get allowances. Sometimes you take liberty. And it's across all disciplines in life. It's not just about athletes. Because people won't tell you about athletes, because they're prominent, they're in the limelight. It's not about athletes, people. It's across the board. it's with pastors, it's with corporate executives, it's with physicians, it's with chemists. When you're an exceptional talent, you sometimes take latitude, you get latitude, you take latitude, and you afford certain privileges that others don't get. And sometimes you abuse it. And sometimes you go too far. And sometimes you get away with it. And sometimes you pay the price. We'll talk about some of those. So Greenwood got arrested, went through the process. And by the way, you know what I'll do? I'll read the man who did an investigation of Greenwood, right? Of the case, actually, because police did the investigation, came back, charges were dropped. He was suspended. They didn't terminate his contract for different reasons. Part of the reason because he's a brilliant footballer, frankly. If he was probably a play on the periphery, they would probably terminate it. But he was charged with, he was initially charged, and then subsequently those charges were basically dropped by the police. But before we go further, because pictures say something enough, people. And as I said before, my job here, not my job, what I'm going to do here is make the case for and against Greenwood. So, because I think it's important, and before I show this one, let me take this down. I'm going to show you something, but let me do it for. We have had some history of this before in life, actually. So let me pull this up. It is very, very important, people, for us to go through some history to inform some of these discussions. Very, very important. So this is a picture of Ray Rice. Do you guys know who Ray Rice was? Let me know if you were Ray Rice was before I have to go into a lot of explanation. You know who Ray Rice was? Ray Rice was a football player for the Baltimore Ravens. Really good football player. Played for them for 6 years. Running back. Made 3 Pro Bowls as running backs. He's a very, very good player. Went to Rutgers University. That's his wife in an elevator in 2014 when he knocked her out. One right hand cold. Right? 2014. His contract terminated by Baltimore. Indefinitely suspended by the NFL, right? That's Ray Rice. Now, that was very unfortunate. It was his girlfriend at the time, actually. Now it's his wife. And he never played football in the NFL again. Right? Never played football in the NFL again. Unfortunate. Happens. Went through a lot, tried to get back in the league. They weren't having it. Between public opinion and otherwise. Now, this is Ray Rice more recently, and this is his wife more recently. His wife calls him the best. She was the girlfriend at the time. The best husband in the world. And as I mentioned before, this is a picture taken of them. They were being interviewed by one of the major stations. Say him speaking out against domestic violence, right? Because that's what he did when he knocked her out. They had some confrontation. He punched her, knocked her out, right? This is them more like today. The picture I saw before was 2014, around then. So time has passed on. They have reconciled. They're in a good place. They have kids. They're good to go. But at the time, it was the story, and it was viewed as a horrendous story. And it was horrendous. The picture looked horrendous. You would think it was a heavyweight getting hit, right? That was plain, and video captured it. Because sometimes, unless you have videos, it doesn't show the picture. It doesn't tell you the story. And we'll get to the Greenwood. This is important. I'm setting up the case for the Greenwood discussion, which I think is important. So that was Ray Rice, 2014. Never played in NFL again. Barred for life. Became a spokesperson against domestic violence. He and his wife are in happy times. All right. This is Chris Brown and Rihanna in happy times. Beautiful picture, wonderful picture of two individuals who look to be all into each other. Right? Beautiful picture. Can't be disputed. That's Rihanna and Chris Brown. Unfortunately, these things don't always go the way one envisioned them to go. Right? And we know what happened with Chris Brown. Because many of you went to his concert when he was in Jamaica, didn't you? Many of you went to his concert. Loved this concert. This was Rihanna when they had a fight in 2009. I don't think they had a fight, and he beat her in 2000. In fact, this picture may not do justice because there are some worse ones. I just picked the one that I thought was more appropriate to show here. Right? This is Chris Brown. This is Rihanna. This is her face after he had beaten her up when they had a confrontation and a fight. Right? They never got back together, but Chris Brown still has a career. So Ray Rice didn't have a career. He was caught on camera. No one saw the Chris Brown fight per se. They saw the supposed result of the fight. I say supposed, and probably not supposed because he actually didn't deny that he did this and that they had a fight. He has subsequently come out with things to say people need to get on with their life because he was 19 at the time. Same age as Greenwood, by the way, and that kids make mistakes. Same age as Greenwood when these things transpire. So that's Rihanna and that's Chris Brown. Horrendous situation. Two people who were all into each other, didn't end too well. Obviously now she's on with Rocky, whatever his name is, and they have a life. They're doing okay. Right? Important. We're going to come back to the Greenwood situation. Now, for the Greenwood situation, because I think all these things are important to show as to why there's such condemnation, indignation, and why people, even though the case was dropped, why some women basically say, if he's allowed to play, let me take this down. If he's allowed to play for Man U, there won't be Man U fans anymore. I'm pulling up the wrong one. Which some Man U fans don't agree with, but there are many of those and those in the media who agree with it. So this was a picture she put out on social media during the fight. This was not the only picture, by the way. She had something of her leg or knee or whatever. But this was a picture. Doesn't look good, blood everywhere. That's what draw the response that you're hearing, right? That's why she put out allegedly that this was done by him. And that's why you see that some people will probably never forgive him because those pictures say a lot. Now, he denied, unlike Ray Rice, who couldn't deny, because this picture spoke, unlike Chris Brown, who didn't deny that he did what he did. That's not the case with Greenwood. He denied it. The investigation was dropped, not supposedly because he didn't do it or there was no evidence, was because the party involved, which is his girlfriend, still is his girlfriend, by the way, didn't press charges. And let me read for you. This is important. Because if we're going to do this, we're going to try to do it right. This is important. This comes from Man U's. Man U did an investigation, by the way, subsequent to the charge being dropped by the police. Because remember, Man U had suspended him. Man U was suspended, right? So they did an investigation. And the reason why I want to show you the pictures because you have to understand why there is that backlash in England because it provides some context. If you just go by the fact that something transpired, if there's no physical or video evidence or photograph, then you can't provide any context to this, right? But if there is, then he's going to draw ire from people. Let me see what the comments are. Rudy said, "Cranky, I have a controversial answer to that. He's welcome, but if I was in charge, I would consult with the 7 leaders of Reggae Girls for their input." Yeah. Carl said, "I kind of know where you're going with this." I don't think you know where I'm going with this, Carl, at all. You may think you do, you don't. Trust me. Maybe I don't even know where I'm going with this. I'm just giving you the facts. So if you know more than what I know, then yeah. So here is I'm going to read for you the summary of the investigation conducted by Man U. And you hear me talk about fans yesterday, people? The ability of fans to influence things and how we don't support the Reggae Boyz. Bless up Bessa. And what the materiality of that actually and how fans can influence. You may talk about the top 6 team trying to go into the Super League, and it was the fans who pushed back along with the media to preclude that from happening. So let me read Man U's case, and then you can figure out where Man U came out, but why we end up where Greenwood went to Getafe in Spain, then went over to Marseille this year, sold to Marseille. So here is the whole discussion. Manchester United investigation into the circumstances around Mason Greenwood's arrest on suspicion of attempted rape and assault in January 2022 boiled down to one key question. Did the club have grounds to terminate his contract? After a 6-month internal review process and some public backlash, the answer they said none was no. All right? And we'll get to that. That prompted a second question. Should Greenwood be allowed to resume his playing career at Old Trafford? The answer to that, the club announced when they did after week XYZ was no. But only after it considered his reintegration back into the squad right up to the last minute. And frankly, people, let's be honest. And I'll go through some of the details here. If there wasn't public backlash, they would have took him back. In fact, let's see what I have here. Because when they're done, I'll tell you what I learned from some of this, because I was following this case, not necessarily through Man U, but through other means. So they said part of their assessment was they felt a duty of care, like club would give a darn about any player. They look about their wallet. They look about the club can do for them. Go ask Chalaba, who plays for Chelsea. Go ask Gallagher, who plays for Chelsea. Club don't care about no player. Go ask ESR, who plays for Arsenal. You know, club don't care about players. They care about the money the players make for them, the return they go get on those players, and their contribution on the field. So they have here, they felt a duty of care. That's the headline. It says, as a result, the 21-year-old forward who had been suspended from training and matches for 18 months is now set to leave Man U either permanently or on loan. This was before he went to Getafe. If an agreement isn't reached with another club before X blah, 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 United believe Greenwood to be innocent of the attempt. Listen to this, people. United believe Greenwood to be, after their investigation, to be innocent of attempted rape, engaging controlling behavior, and assault, crimes he was charged in October 2022 before the case collapsed 4 months later. But there is no expectation he will ever play for the club again. So what they're saying is their investigation cleared him. But yet, public opinion say he was guilty and therefore he had to go. No, Andrew, I don't think it was a race issue, actually. I don't necessarily agree with that. There was a kid who played, a Caucasian kid who played, who was charged with, he was charged with race and convicted and went to prison, but couldn't play football again. So I'm not sure it was a race issue per se. I think it was that picture that created that public outcry. And frankly, to be honest, if you want to bring the race in, the person who was in the picture was Caucasian. Now, that may be a different issue versus the person who effected the punishment or who created the alleged assault was black. It says United launched their own investigation in February 2023 after the Crown Prosecution Services announced that criminal charge against Greenwood had been dropped. So the police dropped charges, right? The reason they dropped their charges was based on a combination of the withdrawal of key witnesses and new material that came to light, which meant there was no realistic prospect of conviction. No one has told us what the new material is. Yeah, I know Marlon King had issues. I know you from our view, but I know what Marlon King had issues. But Marlon King always had issues from those things and other things. Marlon is an issues person. Marlon is like, I'm gonna say who he's like, but he has issues. Greenwood has said that he was cleared of charges when in reality the criminal proceedings were discontinued. So they're saying what the press is saying, he wasn't clear was discontinued, even though the prosecution, the Crown Prosecution, which is basically the prosecutor for the case in Manchester, is saying between witnesses withdrawing and new evidence, no one said what those evidence was, they withdraw the case, right? United's internal process conducted by a panel of senior executives and Chief Legal Officer Patrick Stewart focused on Greenwood's initial arrest made by Greater Manchester Police after images and an audio file were circulated online in the early hours of 2022. So whatever was posted by his girlfriend, who's still his girlfriend, that was something they keyed upon, apart with other information. So Carl Tubman said the pick is a fake. That's what they found out, in my opinion. I don't know about that, because if it was, I'm sure that would have come out in the public domain. And I'm sure Manny would have brought it out in the public domain, frankly. And if they didn't, it would be irresponsible of them not to do so. So I'm not going to say it was. I don't know. I'm not sure anyone does. It'd be interesting to know what the evidence that the Crown prosecution found subsequently, and what the evidence that Manu found, why they decided to clear him. United accept that their investigation was limited, in part because they didn't have access to all the evidence gathered by the CPS, but also because they were reliant on the cooperation of the parties involved. And frankly, the CPS, which is Crown prosecution, didn't prosecute, so they must have evidence to say they shouldn't prosecute. That's why it's really strange, people. But even though they said they were limited in their assessment, in their evidentiary matter that they have, they believe they know enough to establish that Greenwood did not assault the woman who accused him and did not demonstrate coercive behavior. So both the Crown prosecution and Manu's conclusion was he didn't assault her. And yet we saw pictures with blood running everywhere, and we saw pictures of her leg, which suggests that somehow she was assaulted, right? Karen said the damage was self-inflicted. Yes, Greg Walter Nitro is a little bit more unique, right? Greg Walter's abuse was way back in college, numbers years ago. Only a few people knew about it. It only came up because Reina's son wasn't played, and they brought it up as, trying to get back at him, right? It was way before his professional career. But yes, that occurred way back in the past, right? And was resolved and addressed. And his was probably even worse than Greenwood in some respects, frankly, what exactly transpired, if you read the story very well. And I didn't bring up Greg, because there's a number of these out there, so much of these. The reason why I brought up those two specifically was in Rice's case, his career went halt. No further career, because football is a very unique sport. And you can't go overseas and play football. Here's the thing, people. So Rice didn't have any football to go play overseas, NFL. But Greenwood can go play football in other countries. Couldn't get game in England, but he could go to Spain to play and or go to France to play, right? So it all depends on the nature of the sport also. Because if it was England alone, his career may have been over. And he was a teenager, by the way, at that time. Manu say it was also decided by United that Greenwood had cooperated with the police investigation, including handing over passcode to his phone so it could be examined. So listen, people, this is important. So they're saying that the Crown prosecution, the police, did their investigation. The police and whoever the prosecutors are, similar to the prosecutors in Jamaica or in the US, not necessarily the police, but the lawyer who's going to be prosecuting the case. Whether it's witnesses not cooperating and or the evidence they gathered, including his phone. Now, the question is, did he have time on his phone to delete stuff? We don't know if anything was said on it. And he cooperated by giving them that information and giving them the passcode to his phone. Right? And we've seen a lot of times when people just lose their phone, even very senior people, when they've been investigated. But he gave his phone up. Right? United were provided with explanations for the images. So whatever image she posted, they got explanation. Don't ask me what those were, which satisfied them. And audio filed by Greenwood that were not contested by the woman's family. Right? So the family seemed to have not been like the public, who were close to the situation in persecuting him, but John P. did. Drew said they did a thorough investigation, it seems. Well, as thorough as they could, because they didn't have access to all the evidence by the Crown prosecution. But it looked like it was as thorough as they could. Tuffy saying footballers and agents were labeled as abusers in NFL, started to take it seriously. Yeah, no, that was pervasive in the NFL, I agree. But Rice's problem was he got caught on tape. When you get caught on tape, and he couldn't deny it, it was him, it was evident. So sources have basically said that Ten Hag would have taken him back. The CEO, Richard Arden, would have taken him back. But given public pressure, they decided not to. Now, United's explanation for keeping his return on the table as an option, they felt a duty of care to the player. As I mentioned before, they don't feel no duty of care. We're not buying that. Because they're saying he was at the club at 7 years old, from 7 years old. And the fact was, he was an extraordinary footballer, and that sometimes supersedes everything. I'm going to give you an example, people, before I go further. I work in a corporation, I won't say which company, major organization, where it was my understanding, so I'm not going to call their names or anything, of very senior executives who was probably in his 50s or so, like the younger folks, younger females, 22, 23. And I did something with one. They moved him to another area, did it again, left the firm, and they took him back. And then he did it again, so they had to get rid of him. Why do I make that case? Because I'm trying to give the example that these things happen. Now, it's a different example, but it's about behavior, it's about situation, and it's about how companies treat those individuals who are exceptionally talented. Now, we can all draw whatever conclusion we want to draw from this, and I'll go through all this and finish it. But when you're talented, you're getting allowances. So whether or not Greenwood was guilty or not of this, and whether he did it or not, the club is going to go the extra mile, and the pain that occurs in going the extra mile. Bless up, Dennis. Thanks for joining, because the person is going to bring them value that they may not be able to get anywhere else. And I think that's important. So Manny was saying that their view evolved over a certain period of time. And even though Greenwood past behaviors, he had some challenging past behaviors, especially the situation with England, where when they went to Iceland, I think it was Iceland they went to, he and Foden had breached curfew by having two women in the team hotel. You know, he's given allowances because he was a special football player. Now, in this case, he wasn't. And there were other examples being brought up of similar situation where allowances were made for people and didn't work out too well. And so that was also brought up for Man U. They disputed the fact that they decided to bring Greenwood back only to change their mind due to external pressure. They did change their mind to external pressure. And Man U has been disingenuous. It was, according to certain sources, they had planned to announce their decision in prior to the first game of the season against Wolves, but they delayed it while they consulted with key stakeholders, including sponsors and fans, and the women's team. And a lot of the women, especially someone in the media, basically said they would no longer be Man U fan if Man U took him back. I think Rachel Riley was one of those individuals in the media who was a big United fan. And I was listening to TalkSport at the time saying they're not having it. There's a big, lot of fierce discussion and debate around this. So at some point, Man U recognized that they will have no choice but to cut ties with Greenwood. And as we saw, he was sold this year to Marseille for 20-something plus million plus add-ons. Now, why am I talking about all of this? Because I have some more information here too. Because we heard Steve McClaren, right? We heard Steve McClaren talk about this. But before we go to Steve McClaren, I'm going to read something for Hallgrimsson because, you know, the more I read about Hallgrimsson, the less respect I have for Hallgrimsson. He's a wimp. And he's somebody I wouldn't want to associate with. So this is Hallgrimsson in March, people. It's important. When asked about Greenwood, he said this: I think what he's gone through in the year and a half since it happened is worse than I can imagine being in the press and on social media. Right? The case, this is Hallgrimsson talking now. And sometimes we got to have some, you know what, when we're in a difficult situation. We just have to. Yes, DV group. We agree on that. He said, I think what he's gone through in the year and a half since it happened is worse than I can imagine being in the press and on social media. I can only imagine what he's been through. This is Hallgrimsson talking. You know? No press on the JFF, no press from anybody. I can only imagine what he's gone through. The case went through stages and the case was dropped. So it's not up to me or anyone else to judge him on that. That is Hallgrimsson. He also said that he would love to have Greenwood playing for his side and confirm he has spoken to Manchester United forward about a switch. It also the article also mentioned that the JFA was open to the idea of Greenwood representing the Caribbean island, and that what his heritage was, that he qualified to play for Jamaica. Now, this was Hoggram saying March, people. Saying nothing about no JFF. It was no political statement. He said the kid went through a lot, and the case was dropped, and he would love to have him. That was Hogramson. This is Hogramson when he got interviewed, when he was introduced as the coach for Ireland. And at the same time, Ireland had a situation with the women's team. There were a lot of sexual assault charges brought against coaches for Ireland, right? He said, ask the question. It's always as to why, the Greenwood situation, why he supported Greenwood, why would want him. He says, always in what context the question is asked, in what scenario the question is asked. I absolutely don't approve of his action, just to make that clear. He didn't say that as a qualifier when he talked about the kid when he was asked in March. The question to me was after the president of the Jamaica Federation, after General Secretary, so obviously the coach got the question. The political answer was that obviously all coaches would love to have the best player available. That was my kind of answer. Hogramson, I'm going to be cautious what I say, but you're a wimp. You're disingenuous. You're not a good person. You're just not. For you to make the statement as if, you know what? You made a political answer, but we know most coaches want the best player. You just said the players went through a lot. You said the player case was dropped, and you would love to have him. And then when you're confronted in a different environment, comes some bull answer about, oh, it was a political comment that I made, because the Federation wanted him. You can blame people blame the JFF for everything, don't it? Poor JFF get blamed. Well, I shouldn't say poor JFF. I don't need blame sometime, but they get blamed for everything. He's blamed the JFF for his own individual statement about wanting the player, and he's going to blame the JFF for this. That is so ludicrous. Ludicrous, people. Unfair. And that's why, you know what? You should have gone a long time. Seriously. He's not a good person. You're just not. Now, this was McClaren. If you can hear this. This was McClaren more recently when asked that question. Let me know if you can hear this, people.
Yeah, I know the players very well.
I don't think you can hear that. I'm playing something, but I don't think you can hear it. So let me stop it and rewind it and make sure it hooks up right, because I'm not sure why it's not coming through. Oh, it should be coming through. It's all hooked up good. Let me try this again. No, I turned it up, actually. I turned it up as far as I can turn it off. Try it again. It's not turning up.
I know the players very well.
No, it's not coming through.
Strange, because I met Mason in...
Give me a second, people. I have one more trick up my sleeve, and let's see if I can get that done. Okay. Got it. Let me try it again. And let me see what McClaren going to say later on if he's asked about this in England, because it's important.
Confident you can bring them over the line?
Yeah, I know the players very well. Strange, because I met Mason in Manchester United training ground about 3 weeks ago, before the announcement was made. So I had to be very careful what to say to him. But we had a little conversation. We've had a conversation since. And what I want to do is to go, like I'm going to do with everybody when I get back, is to go meet them, is to have a conversation with them and find out the reality of the situation and whether they actually want to come all the way here to play for Jamaica. Again, it's the commitment of the players. So there are two players who should be of interest to us. They're very good players. And I will be making sure that I have a conversation with all the players. The president, Mr. Speed, Mr. Chung have shown me a list of potential targets, potential lists. I know them all very well. I know their agents well. And believe you me, when I get home, I'll be busy on the phone.
So that was McClaren, people. There is no ambiguity. There was no pressure. Now, we'll hear if later on, like Hogramson, he's going to come back and say, you know what? I was under pressure in the press conference, and I'll tell you what you want to hear. He said he met Mason. You've had discussion with him. Obviously, Mason may not know he assumed the position. Now, let me summarize this, and you guys can then call in, right? Because I didn't plan to do this for more than an hour. As I said, I didn't plan to do any show on this today. I just thought the topic was not being given justice. And that's why I decided to address the topic, right? That's why I decided to have the show today. So I didn't plan to do this for 2 hours. I said I'm going to come on for an hour and do it. I didn't want to do a 10-minute show because I didn't do it justice. There's more to be talked about. So here's the case against Mason from my end. And here's the case for Mason, right? And you can enjoy your conclusion. I'm not going to tell you where I come out. So let me just summarize first and then tell you the more detailed case for and against and for. I'm going to go against and for in that order. So the decision to reinstate Mason Greenwood in football, to me, is complex and multifaceted. It's a delicate balance between recognizing his talent and the situation, but also addressing the seriousness of the concerns surrounding what got him in trouble, right? So it's twofold. You know who the person is, you know the ability, do you know the facts of the case, and given the nature of the case and severity of the case, how do you make a decision which you can sort of live with in a sense? So let's go to the points that informs the case against Mason. Seriousness of the allegation. Despite the charges being dropped, the allegation against him were serious and involved accusation of violence and threatening behavior. Domestic violence is pervasive in our society. Inappropriate. Any man with a woman is a wimp. That's me. If a man beat a woman, the man I want a wimp. So me see it. You put your hand on a woman, you want a wimp, and you need counseling. In fact, somebody needs to go to jail. That's the way I view it. That's my position on the whole domestic violence situation with men and women. However, these kind of accusations can have these accusations and these situations can have a lasting impact on the individual's reputation, who's Mason, but also on the person who received the abuse. Now, when I start jump up and say, cranky, the case no getting no abuse, I'm saying I'm making a case against and for. It's the against, right? And as a national football team and football clubs, they should hold themselves to the highest standard, which would make it difficult for his return. That's a fact. Second, impact on the team morale. Some people in the team, especially the women team, is not going to have somebody who's deemed to be an abuser back in their team. I want to play for the club. I want to associate with the club, right? And could also affect players on the team who may think that if you bring the player back, you're setting the wrong example. You've lost your moral compass, and that cannot be okay, especially given the nature of the allegations. And I said the pictures say a lot. Whether the pictures are genuine or not, that's another discussion. Public sponsor backlash, which I think is what got Mason not to be back at Man U. Somehow the women's team also would not be happy, but it's public backlash. Bringing him back into the football environment, football clubs and national teams rely upon fans and sponsors as a key part of their livelihood. There would have been significant backlash in the UK. In fact, there was significant backlash. That's not there will be. There was significant backlash by fans in the UK, especially some of the women's fans. Not as much by sponsors overtly, but I'm someone behind closed door they were doing so. And the media also was part of that whole equation to the backlash. There's a lot of negative press, and obviously clubs think about their pocket first and the players' well-being second. And what do they want to tell you? Neymar said, leave the ball alone if we need the service. I know. Someone don't know murder if I come back on the street too. So honestly, I'm making the case for and against Neymar. You can't tell me what to do, Damien. Neymar. I'm gonna make the case for and against. You don't like it? Leave the channel. That may I tell you right now. Because you guys sometimes close your eyes to things because it satisfies what you want. I'm putting the case out there for and against. I didn't say what side I'm on. So don't tell me to leave the ball alone. In fact, you should just leave the channel alone. Bye. The case for Mason Greenwood. Mason is undeniably a talented footballer. Before the controversy, he was widely regarded as one of the best young talent in English football. His natural goal-scoring ability, versatility in attacking position. I talked about him playing center forward, right wing, left wing, and technical skills make him a valuable asset for any team. Reinstating him would give any team a boost, and that's why we see Marseille acquired him. When this situation occurred, he was very, very young, right? 19 years old. You know, people make dumb decisions when they're extremely young. I have less tolerance for somebody when they're 25, 30, 40 versus when they're a teenager, because I have teenage people around me all the time. And I know teenagers make stupid decisions. Let's take my nephew to task on something he did today, which made no sense to me. But I also know he's a teenager. And they're still growing, developing, still learning, still maturing. So there's more leeway you give, even when they do some egregious thing. And we see people send people to prison for life when they're a teenager. I always find this. I mean, if you kill somebody, yes, but otherwise, I find it if you sell drugs and other things, even though they should be punished, severity of punishment has to be understood in the context of the person and their age and their maturity and their experience. That's how I view it. So he still needs to mature as a person, and he still needs the proper guidance and support. And the question is, right? Why? Legal resolution. The legal charges against Greenwood were dropped. Let me say that to people. The Crown prosecution and which would include the police and the investigation, dropped the charges. Right? Manu did the investigation, even though it was limited in some respects. No, you were Damien. So leave the ball alone. You were hitting on me. So if you hit on me, I'm going to hit back. I'm going to tell you that right now. You were hitting on me. So leave the ball alone. I'm providing perspective here, and you want to show up yourself. So if you do that, I'm going to hit back. So if you hit me with the right hand, I believe an eye for an eye, I'm going to hit you with the left hand. Once in a while, I may turn the other cheek and just say, you know what? Not even engage you. Tonight, I'm not having it. The legal charges against Greenwood were dropped, which means that from a legal standpoint, he's not guilty of the accusations that were brought against him. So listen again, people, because it's important. See what happened to O.J. Simpson. Even though, in some respects, given the drive down the highway and all that, we have a legal system, people. And if the legal system says you're not guilty, where did the public come off saying you were guilty? How can that be okay? The public can't have it both ways. You can't say we have a court of law and we have mechanisms in place to determine guilty and innocent. And then after the person is found not guilty, you're saying, no, that's not right. I'm going to find him guilty because I'm right and the system is not right. I'm not sure how that's right, people. That cannot be right. We saw that with OJ. We saw that with Trump. The system is saying Trump is guilty, and his fans and his people are saying he's not guilty, even though the facts is otherwise. And the one question would be, why isn't Trump not in jail? He said on a tape that he grabbed women by their private parts. He was convicted in civil court for sexual assault. So why is he not taking the criminal court for sexual assault? I have no idea. So I go back to the point I'm trying to make with this discussion, people. People get privileges based on their situation, based on the skill they bring to the table. Right? So if the legal process is supposed to work the way it does, if the Crown prosecution says not guilty, then how could the public and sponsors determine his guilt? Is that okay? Last but not least, because this is the case for Mason Greenwood. Society embraces the idea of giving people second chances, especially those who are young and impressionable, right? And can learn from their mistakes. If you reinstate somebody like Greenwood, framed as a chance for him to prove himself to society, both on and off the pitch, and show that he deserved a learn from the past, then why wouldn't you do so? Who are we? And here's when we put up the last picture. Who are we to say that he should be prosecuted? He should never play football again, when this is him with baby and girlfriend / not sure if they're married now. This is him, right? Subsequent to all of this, and they did a good job of covering the baby's face. I put this picture up. She's happy. He's happy. They're happy. No one is here advocating domestic abuse, people. So don't come and say cranky. I advocate domestic abuse. But it is a point to say that is it okay for society to convict us when the courts, mechanism, and process society put in place has been given the jurisdiction and responsibility to do so? So why, when it doesn't satisfy our narrative and what we want it to be, we're then challenging it and decide to go become judge, jury, and executioner? Why are we doing that? Does that make any sense, people? What I wanted to do in this discussion is provide both sides of the case and not be biased in my perspective, and try to provide as much information as possible so then you can think about it more deductively versus on the top. Because you know what? most people will want the player to come and play because he's a good footballer. But have they thought about the case for and against this happening, and how do they come out when they draw their conclusion? And why do we see so much backlash in England, or backlash by the mayor of Marseille concerning this? And why is it that the person has gone through the court system in the process, it doesn't work to certain people? Just like OJ's situation didn't work for certain people. And even though OJ went to prison for some trumped up charges, frankly, so they can satisfy a certain demographics, the court system, which has been working for everyone all these years, and we were told the court system is just, why is it that it doesn't satisfy a certain demographics that they're not happy with it? Ricardo, you're making no sense, Ricardo. Here's why you're making no sense. He was having a private conversation when no one was hearing him. And he's the same person, Ricardo, we saw with Epstein, the child molester who hanged himself in jail. Same Trump we saw with him. The lady said he sexually assaulted her. So if you look at what he has said and what transpired subsequently and people's interaction with him, why you said the argument doesn't make any sense. The way we reason sometimes confuses me. I must admit. No, seriously, people, it confuses me. It confuses me. If the evidence points a certain way and you're saying the argument makes no sense, then you know, right? You know what, Ricardo, you're right. I make no sense. So you're right. Brilliant perspective, Ricardo. Respect your opinion. Brilliant perspective. I'm wrong. You're right. Take it away. Take it away. Yeah, no, I agree with Drew Ross. Look, Drew Ross, I agree with that actually. So I'm not coming out on either side here. I'm just giving the facts from giving the perspective from a different angle and try to provide as much context as possible. Then people can draw a conclusion. Look, I'm going to say this what some people don't like. I see people being charged with conspiracy to distribute illegal substance, and I see people flying up to my house, staying with me to go to their concert, right? If I'm flying all over the place to go to their concert. Who are you going to distribute that illegal stuff to? People who look like me. I've seen people being charged for committing murder come out, and people are celebrating and running out around and losing their mind and going to go to their concert, right? Special people with special talents get special privileges. No matter no one wants to say. Some I don't know who go against some of these things are just hypocrites. That's why I brought up the Chris Brown situation. I never to go to Chris Brown concert, and he didn't disagree that he beat up Rihanna badly, right? He got a second chance. He was 19. I'm not saying he shouldn't get a second chance. I'm just saying that as people, we are hypocrites in a lot of instances. We make allowance for things that satisfy what we want to be satisfying us, and we somehow belittle or up against things which doesn't satisfy us. No, it wasn't criticism. You said, if you leave the ball alone. I'm going to say, if you leave my channel alone. If you don't like it, Damien, too bad on you. You didn't come with if you accost me in a certain way, I'm gonna come back at you the way you accost me. You didn't say, Cranky, is that, I don't agree with your perspective because of AYZ. That's what you did. You type, leave the ball alone. And I'm saying, I'm trying to provide a perspective. You don't like it, tough. So if you want to say I can't take criticism, that's up to you. That's not criticism. That's being rude. That's how I view it. That's being rude. And if you talk rude to me, I'm gonna talk rude to you. And if you don't like it, I'm gonna tell you tough. That's how I am. As Shannon Sharp said the other day, when people are going, if you go low, he goes low. If you go lower, he goes to the basement. But I ain't gonna go to the basement. Sometimes somebody was abusive to me the other day on our channel. I just ignored them because I was done with them. Sometimes when I don't engage people, that's even worse because I'm not going to engage with you at all. I'm done with you. At least I didn't say I was done with you. Right? I have the mic. I have a perspective. You know what? My perspective is Cranky. I disagree with you, XYZ. But don't come to be rude at me. If you're rude at me, I'm going to come back at you the same way you come at me. I'm going to come at you hard if you come at me hard. If you don't like it, then you can't take criticism. I don't know, actually, DC. Good question. I know she's the one that had a problem with Donaldson, and we see what happened to Donaldson, right? We see what. Okay, well, if I was mistaking you, Damien, then I apologize profusely. Okay, I see you say leave the ball alone. I'm not talking about the baller. So if you're talking about somebody else, then you know what? I apologize for that. I don't know about Elaine Walker Brown, but I wouldn't mess with Elaine Walker Brown if I were anyone. Because Leigh Rockerborn has power, at least in the Jamaica Football Federation. She got down and fired. I saw her on CVM. When he kicked her off the bus. And I heard she say, nah, go so. Anytime a woman in Jamaica, they say, nah, go so. And them have clothes. I suggest you go run and hide. Right? I suggest you go run and hide. If she said, if you affect a woman in Jamaica with some power and she said, nah, go so, you need to disappear. Because I laughed when I heard her on TV. I'm like, you know what? He's done. I don't care what he does. Even if he win the World Cup, they would still fire him. And I'm dead serious about that, people. If he won the World Cup for Jamaica, they would fire him. No doubt they'd fire him. There's no doubt in my mind they'd fire him. Because, she felt she was abused. She felt she was disrespected. She felt she was representing the ministry, and she wasn't having it. And I can then understand why Downs got fired, which is unfortunate, people. So people, as I said before, I didn't come to stay on here long. I watched about 2 or 2 YouTubers do 10-minute videos today on Mason Greenwood. I was a little bit perturbed, frankly, by saying I'm not sure the case was presented in its holistic fashion. I'm not sure I did a good job of doing it, by the way. I'm just giving you how I would consider how we should present the case. So all the facts are out there. The thing that bothered me more than anything else, frankly, to be honest, about this whole thing, is that if we have a judicial process, you put me through the process. The process says I have not enough evidence or I don't have any evidence to convict you. The process says I'm done, you're not convicted. I know there's other information that was put out there which was not authenticated. So if I put a video up and say somebody's, you know what? Neymar hit me in my eye, but no one seen Neymar hit me. Sorry, Neymar, I'm going to bring you up because I apologize for. No one seen him hit me, but I had blood, which conjures up emotion. But I went to the process, did investigation, whether it's because the witness didn't cooperate or the evidence wasn't there. But then you're going to convict me in the court of public opinion. How can that be okay? No, I don't think so. I don't think so because of the woman. Look, when women latch onto something, and they feel that they've been aggrieved, it's hard. So then the woman pressure the club, the sponsors didn't feel the pressure. Because Man U was going to reinstate him. People don't realize that. They were going to reinstate him no matter what they tell you. They plan to reinstate him based on their supposed limited investigation. But then they consulted with fans. I don't think they wasn't consulting. They put it out there. They trickle certain messages out there to get feedback. Yeah, Damien, bless up. I apologize, Damien. They put up certain messages to get feedback, and then they realize that, this feedback is not good. We have to pivot. That's what happened. And then look, people, I said it before. Clubs, sometimes if national teams don't care about my players, you always hear me say this about players. Take care of yourself and your family first. Now, make no fun like cranky anybody else want to tell you about if you're going to play for national team and do XYZ. Players, no listen to them. Take care of your family and yourself first. Your number one priority. Because when you're not playing well enough, or when you're not playing well enough, or when they're done with you, then you're gone and forget about you. They don't care about you. That's how we are as fans. We don't care about you. Now, I could tell you anything else. We will laud you. We will praise you. We will take your autograph. We will sing your praises when you're playing and you're useful to us. As soon as your usage is done, we're gone. That's how we stay. We're gone to the next player who can provide a value. Because you know why? It's about us. We want to use some context of nationality, but no, it's about us. How you make us feel. How you give us pleasure by winning. We are very selfish as people in general. So players, don't let nobody fool you. At the same time, players, if you disrespect us, we will pressure you. Right? We will pressure you if you disrespect us. So there got to be respect on both sides. So I always tell players take care of themselves and their family first. But at the same time, people, they have to be doing the right thing, have the right moral values. So I didn't tell you in this that I come out on either side. The point I'm trying to make is that I am very disturbed and perturbed when we have created a mechanism to adjudicate situations, and then when it doesn't come out in the way that we favor, we lose our minds. Just like with Trump, right? He's the one that was telling people to lock them up. And I use certain people as examples. I use the Rice case as an example where he lost his vocation, his job as a football player. I use Chris Brown as an example He got a chance to redeem himself, and he's now up, right? He didn't get to a certain level because of what transpired, but he got to redeem himself. People still go to this concert. He's a brilliant and talented performer, but he got allowances. I give you an example in the corporate environment where somebody was a, what they call in Jamaica, a big wig, and he gets allowances for doing certain things which are not appropriate, but they still make allowances for him because society does that. Mason Greenwood is no different. I am not saying Mason Greenwood did what he's accused of, people. Don't say Cranky said that, because the court say he didn't, and I can't say so because I wasn't there. There's no video, people. Right? Nowadays, we have video. Lady got shot in Chicago the other day, or Illinois the other day. They filled up a pan of hot water, got shot for no reason, killed. That's video evidence. If there was no video, we would know what happened. So I had no idea what happened. One can hypothesize, as Scott Toppin is saying. One can extrapolate from what they see, what they think it entails, and then draw their own conclusion, which what the women have done. But his partner's family, Manu, the court prosecution have absolved him, but there's certain segment of society saying they'll never absolve him, right? So that's my conclusion, people. If you want to call him, please do so. I didn't plan to do this more than an hour, and I've met my hour mark. But you can tell me if I made any sense or not in how I try to present this, because as I said before, when I saw others presenting it, I thought, and people are going to beat me for saying this, I thought it was a little bit topical and not as in-depth as I would like. So I tried to spend a little bit of time doing some research and try to present the information in a way which try to be as unbiased as possible, provide both sides of the story, even though in my conclusion, I'm saying it's complex, but I'm also saying I do find it a little bit disturbing that when we get court decision and we say courts are the one that work, and granted, look, I've been in a jury environment. I've always said those people they're not my peers. A lot of jurors are not my peers. I just said that. It's not being elitist. They're just not my peers. But at the same time, that's the best system we have. And if it doesn't work in our favor, the public should not be the one to then cast judgment and determine how things should work. It shouldn't. Because the public have given that authority to another body to do so. So the public need to live with the outcome, whether they like it or not. And I didn't like how the O.J. Simpson situation went, whether he was guilty or not. I didn't like how the Greenwood situation went, whether he was guilty or not, because the court system say no. So why are you saying yes? Obi said, no Jamaican has the right to protest about Greenwood, even though I am no fan of abuser. Did you see anybody calling for the politician who beat his wife in public? Yeah, and Upbeat, he was on camera, Upbeat. Upbeat, he was on camera. That's the worst thing, Upbeat. We talk about video evidence, right? So she presented some kind of evidence, and I saw the evidence, pretty ugly, but no one saw him do it. Didn't mean he didn't, but no one saw him do it. We saw him beat up the lady, didn't we? I thought it was on camera, actually. Ugly looking. Bless up yourself, Jamaica family vibes. Yeah, look, I do say this. Men who beat up women are just not men in the traditional sense, right? They're not. I don't understand how you do that anyway. And also, people, it's about decision making, which is important. Now, I said this a while back. I heard one of the rappers said, not a rapper, a person who has a big podcast, a lot of viewership. He was in jail for a long time. And he was talking about a situation where one of the inmates in jail was talking to him about, how long did it take? And it was like, how long did it take to do what? How long did it take for the thing that got you here to get you here? How long did it take, the process take? And he said, what are you talking about? How long did it take? And he said, oh, like I robbed a store and it took 5 minutes. And it was obviously saying like, so it took you 5 minutes to do that. And now you're spending like 20 years for that 5 minutes. How does that trade-off work? And I don't think people think about those things when they're making decisions. Decision making is an imperative, especially when you're doing certain things in life. Have you thought about the risk reward for your decision? If you're going to rob a store, people, right? And so you go with $100. Is the $100 worth you getting caught and going to jail for 20 years? How can that make any sense in anyone's mind? I'm going to give you an example before I close this out. I was driving on the street in Brooklyn the other day, last week. I'm at the light, actually. I'm at the light. There's a car beside me. One of those cars where a problem kid. I'm telling you, there's certain cars that they have in Brooklyn. It was white. It was a Nissan, one of the sports cars, and I've seen them around, and all the people who drive those cars are almost all the same. And that's where you go with stereotype and cliches, but I'm telling you, it's a fact. It's almost like it's a fact. It's not a fact, it's almost a fact. There's a truck across the street on the right. Now I thought, and I saw him, I said, you know what? I bet he's going to try to beat me to get in and go ahead of me. We're talking about I'm at the light, people. So light change, and I hesitated for a reason. So I'm always thinking about drivers are just going to make stupid decisions, and I got to drive for me and them. He took off, right? And then I took off. Now, I thought he was going to take off and go in front of me and keep going. Apparently, he was going left. And he stopped, and he couldn't make it because another car came at the same time. He stopped right in front of me. I'm telling you, we're both at the light together, people. He's making a left turn by flying in front of me and hit on his brakes. Because I'm driving for idiots, as I'm going to call it, I'm always thinking about what's worst case scenario. It's going to be decision making. I'm not sure how I stopped, to be honest, but I didn't hit him. No, if I hit him, he'll be in trouble because I'm driving a big SUV. And I sat there after he left. I just drove off thinking I should just go back home because this makes no sense. What could somebody be thinking to fly in front of you from a stoplight and stop dead on while you're driving straight ahead and I have no left turn on? It comes back to decision making, people. Decision making. When you have decision in life to make, no matter what the situation is, what's the risk reward of the decision, and can you live with the consequences? That's how I think about life. And that situation to me just brought out that people are just plain, sometimes just plain, I'm gonna use the word just stupid. There is no rationale for do that. I'm on the right going straight ahead. You're beating me, but because you can't make the turn, you're trying to beat me and it doesn't work, you're gonna stop because you had no choice but to stop. But you're gonna get hit either one of two ways. You're gonna get hit by the car coming. If you're stopping in front of me, I should have hit you. But because I anticipated you being an idiot, I didn't anticipate you turning, by the way. I anticipated you cut me off and then going ahead, so I would keep rolling. Somehow I stopped the vehicle. Still don't know how I stopped it. But I went to an event and I went back home thinking, you know, I can't deal with this nonsense. This is just doesn't make sense, people. But it goes back to my whole point about decision making. So if you have a confrontation with your significant other, you go walk out the house, go drink some water or something, drive away, go cool off. You ain't gotta put your hand on somebody, especially if it's the opposite sex. That makes no sense to me. But anyway, so much for my little lecture or soliloquy about these things. If you want to call in people, you're going to call in. If not, I'm going to close now tonight because I only came to be in an hour. Nah, I would have hit him in the side. I wouldn't be at fault. I would have hit him in the side. It wouldn't be in his back. I don't think it would be in his back because, yeah, it could have been. You could have been. You could, Tuffy, you could be right on that, actually. It didn't make any sense to me. It didn't make any sense. If I hadn't braked, he would have hit me when he made his left in the first case. I have no idea how I stopped, by the way, people. Don't ask me. I anticipate these things, I must admit. When I'm driving, I'm always looking for some New Yorkers doing something totally ridiculous. Like making a U-turn in front of me, even though there's no U-turn to be made. That's how I drive and think. I'm always thinking about you're going to do something just... I've always said this. The thing has to drop from the sky and I don't see it for me to get in trouble when I'm driving. That's how I think anyway. Because I believe there's some luck in driving, but most of it is not luck. It's about how you think and how you make decisions. So I'm always thinking about all these permutations that could occur and how can I manage them. Good evening. Who am I speaking to?
Hello, Crank.
Yeah, man. Good evening.
A call.
How are you doing, Carl?
Yeah, man. Boy, this show you bring up as an epic show, you know.
Yeah, I thought Neymar was beaten. Hey, Neymar, I apologize again, Neymar. You got on my wrong side today, but you're not wrong. I'm the one wrong, so I appreciate it. So what do you want to say, Carl? Sorry.
Yeah, well, I sent you a comment about Adrian Peterson beating about 4-year-old.
Oh, yes.
They still allow him. They still allow him to.
Yeah,
it's his son.
Yeah. I remember that.
And they still allow him to play in the NFL. And look at what they did to Ray Rice.
Yeah. I think the difference they made there is about beating the child and not sparing the rod or whatever we call it versus even though I think he went way over with the rod, by the way. He went way over with the rod. But Ray Rice situation, it was egregious actually what transpired, but take away his job totally, it's tough, right?
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah.
Anyway, this Greenwood thing now.
Yeah.
I followed it to a limit. But was there a video or just pictures?
Pictures. No, she went on one of those it was Instagram.
Social media.
Yeah, one of the social media
Social
site,
media.
and then she was there with the blood coming down her face and her mouth.
Well,
and then she showed some
I
pictures
know that
of
there's
her
an
leg.
audio.
Yeah.
No, I know there's an audio of with him like forcing her to have sex and something like that. I heard that.
Oh, I didn't see that audio actually.
No, I heard it. Yeah, man.
Okay.
It's like forcing me to like have sex with me or something like that.
Okay.
Something like that. So
I had the Ray Rice video, but I didn't play the Ray Rice video. I didn't want to play the video. I could have played the video, but I decided not to. Just show the still picture. Yeah.
I only see the picture of Ray Rice. I never saw the video.
No, it was a right hand actually. It was like Mike Tyson right hand, and she fell flat cold. Like
you can see that she's out.
yeah, he knocked her out. He knocked right. I think she went at him first, and then he just hit her with the right hand. But I also did see one with Jay-Z and what's her name, Knowles.
Solange.
Yeah, she slapped him. No one was giving her a hard time for slapping him. They just like, you should just take it. That's not okay either.
But the whole thing with these laws in his first relation, but I don't like. A woman can beat on you, you know. She can hit you, she can do everything, she kick you, she do everything.
Right.
And if you really can just give her one slap, you go to jail.
Yeah, yeah. So, some women get in trouble too. Some women got in trouble. In the US, a little bit different, I think. Some women got in trouble in the US, actually. They get in trouble. If you can prove that she was abusive physically, she can go to jail.
Yeah.
But they're probably more lenient when they come up with the charges. Yeah.
But if there's no evidence, like video evidence, it's your word against hers. And they're gonna always take her word over the man. The woman, they're gonna take the woman word over the man at all times. You know about that, right?
Well, you know, the man is supposed to be stronger, isn't it? Just in general. So you have to take the hit and just move on.
All right, the whole thing now. Here my take on the whole Mace agreement. That still picture that she's in. You only show the face. I have a picture with it on like 3/4 of her body.
No, I did see some of that, but I didn't want to go through the whole rigmarole. The face looked really bad with the blood, because blood draws that ire, right?
That is what I want to get to.
Yeah.
That's what I want to get to. I look at Rihanna's face, and you see views and and stuff like that, and swelling. Now, this Miss Greenwood girlfriend now, I look at the picture and I see a lot of blood run down. No, for so much blood to run so far down to actually her belly, past her belly and go down. Her face has to be a lot more damage than what I saw. I don't see any damage on her face.
Right.
Just look at the picture, bro. Just look at it. Her whole entire face is so smooth, like it does not touch. It's just blood. So my imagination just tell me that picture is a fake. You understand? I think that is fake blood. She probably just. I don't know about her.
You think it's fake blood, really? You think it's fake blood?
I think it's fake. I think it's fake. That's why they dropped the charge, because from the beginning, her parents, her father, come out and was defending Mr. Greenwood.
But sometimes parents are defending the money, right?
Well, that could be a case too.
You can't mess with the money. People say, you know what? The man hits you, get over it, clean yourself up, because you're set for life, right? That's how sometimes it is. Let's be honest. But I'm not saying either way. True. I don't know. You don't know, but I'm just saying sometimes. Yeah. And sometimes parents love the kid. They love the person you're with, right? And they'll say they make a mistake, we can work through it. Sometimes that's how it is.
Yeah, man. But just look at the picture, man. May I tell you, man, there's just something funny about this blood streaking down.
Right.
And her face, her mouth, listen, it's coming from the left corner of our mouth.
Yeah, I was wondering where that blood was coming from, because I couldn't see. Did their tongue? Where's the blood? Where's so much blood coming? It's a lot of
It
blood.
is just coming from the corner. That's what I'm saying. And look at her face. Her face is so smooth.
Yeah,
Like it never
it's
touched.
a lot of blood. Actually, it seems so much for. What's the severity of the injury that would trigger so much blood? I didn't see any protrusion in their bodies, any openings that suggest where the blood is coming from. I don't know, but I'm just saying it just is interesting.
We have a mind of our own, you know. We need to use our imagination and look at things, you know, analyze it ourselves. You understand?
Yeah.
Just look good on the picture. Her face never touch. Trust me. For so much blood, it have to look even as close as Rihanna's face.
Yeah.
But there's no abuse, there's no swelling, there's nothing. Just this whole heap of blood is a streak from the corner of her mouth come right down to her body.
Where would she get the blood from to spray on herself? I mean,
you can make things. You can mix things, mix Kool-Aid, mix all kind of things, and make it look like blood bridge.
It is an interesting thing. I mean, somebody can tell me otherwise, but I didn't see anything in like a split in her forehead or in her head, maybe she's cut in her, but her hair wasn't bloody. I'm just trying to think of where's that blood coming from. It looked like from her mouth. But would your mouth spring so much blood? It was a lot of blood.
Yeah, that's what I say. For so much blood to run out her mouth, man. She's supposed to go some really, really hard hit. And her face supposed to swell, just like Rihanna's face, swelling and red spot, you know, because she's white, you know, a white girl. So you're supposed to see her like butter bills and all them. And nothing like that.
Right.
So this is why I feel like they dropped the charge.
Okay.
And just dismiss it and then realize that there's something that never right. There's some irregularities.
But why wouldn't they have brought it out to the public though? Because then it's injustice to him.
That's the next point I'll get to know.
Right.
Mr. Greenwood probably likes his girl. They like one another, but it's just that something happened. I mean, something happened and they want to continue with their life.
Right.
So to bring that out to the public, that would have damaged her. You can imagine the amount of backlash she would have gotten if this is true, that the pictures are fake.
Yeah.
Because what she did, you know, she damaged a young man's future, you know, a promising young football star, you know.
But suppose he actually did do it. What's your view on that?
Well, that's an excuse now. If he actually did it now, then he deserves all the backlash he's getting. But I still don't. I'm a Man U fan. Are you a Man U fan?
No. I wanted the guys to lose every single game. Well, not every game. Most of the games I want you to lose. No, I'm not a Man U fan.
I have been a Man U fan. I have been a Man U fan since the 80s.
Okay.
A real Man U fan. I'm gonna switch. A Man U fan, Lakers, Dallas Cowboy. You understand? And Inter Miami. See? That's him. I choose Inter Miami because they're close to me. I'm in Jamaica.
I thought you choose them because they got Messi more. Because that's how people.
No. I have become a fan before Messi.
Okay.
Yeah, man. So this whole Greenwood thing, and it's just something that is just not right about it. Understand?
Yeah.
And they probably have all right, as I say, they want to continue their relationship. So maybe him just decides I'm going to soak up the pressure, take all the blame, and then move on with their life. If Man U doesn't want him back, then go somewhere. But I have up Man U for letting the youth stay out of football for 18 months. It was too long.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, my problem with the whole thing is this, is that, as I said, teenagers, look, if you're a certain age, we should know better, then you need to do better, right? We try to teach our kids the right things, but sometimes it takes a while for it to sink in. So he made an egregious, if he really did do what transpired, he should have punishment. The question, what's the nature of the punishment?
I passed that, I passed that. I'm talking about the length of time that they kept him out of football. If they wasn't going to bring him back, then sell him from a long time. Just sell him. Sell him and release him. So the guy could go on and I know other teams will take him. Other teams will take him. But
not in England. Nobody in England touched him though.
Well, if I am in Mason Greenwood's position, I wouldn't give a red cent about England. You understand? England's not the only place professional football play.
Right. But that's where you make most
See,
of the
so-
money, though. A lot of the money, unless you're playing for like a Real
No,
Madrid.
well, money. In order to make money, if you want to make the big bucks, then you have to be part of the elite.
True.
You understand? So you have to work on your craft and become a part of the elite. I said that to Walter Boyle one time, because I said that to Walter Boyle, I said, you never make the big times, so you're not making any, you didn't make any money, so because you never make it to the big times.
Right.
So, yeah, man. So you have to blame yourself. You have to hold yourself accountable for that.
Well, I think if we digress a little bit into this in terms of Jamaican footballers, people who locally developed players, I think, I'm not sure they've been developed, what I want to say, like from the mental aspect, which is how do I make good decisions? They may develop on the football field, but a lot of times discipline has been deemed to be part of the problem that they encounter as they go through their career. And if they were taught very early about how they should behave, it probably would help them on the field as much as help them off the field in making good decisions both ways.
No, everything what they're saying is accurate, yeah. But you say, if we want to switch a little bit and go to this what we're talking about now, like, because Walter Boyd, I rate him. The reason why I rate Walter Boyd, I watched this guy do some things on the field. And I can tell you that it was all self-taught.
All right.
It was something he just learned by just growing up playing football. The other aspect that you're talking about, the development stage, the mental developed stage, that he never had.
You know what Walter Boyd did? And which is important, people can understand this. He gave people who watch football pleasure.
No, tell you, man.
Right? Because I remember one time he came to New York and he played on my team in the Bronx. And he got a ball on the right-hand side. And he made a turn. And when he turned, he shifted the entire field and the stands. I'm dead serious about that. He shifted the stands.
I really think, man.
Everybody got excited. Because when he came to play, the person who used to run my team used to, all the big players come from Jamaica. He would drop them a decent amount of money so they come and play, right? And he came and play one game for him. He only played one game. And it was a buzz in the place was sold out, it was a buzz. I used to watch him at Colorado too. No, he was an exciting footballer. And you love to watch exciting footballers, right? That's why when I tell people that we don't want to kick and hoop football, because we want to enjoy. We don't only want to win, we want to enjoy the football while winning. We want to watch some boring kicking the ball up the field and then you come back to you. Man, nonsense.
When Zambia, in Simo's early tenure, when he was here, Zambia came to play us 2 games. And the second match I went to the stadium to watch Walter. I think the first match playing, I think is Jared Park, first match play. And then they play second one at the stadium. I think we won that match 3-1. I think that 2 Walter Boyd scored, but I'm not sure. I think that 2. What we say, Walter Boyd take the ball on the left flank. And the man off the ball at the ear, just across it from left foot to right foot. I juggle it. The defender running about his, but sometimes defender have them back. Like them a look round.
Right.
When they attack up. And Walter Boyd just move him left to right to left to right. And just one kick goal.
Yeah. But what was Walter developed mentally?
No.
Exactly.
Ian Nandi.
Yeah, he wasn't developed mentally.
Two talent just went waste.
Yeah.
I tell you, man. Onandelo was the same thing. Talented. And nothing came from it.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. Unfortunately, yeah, man. Unfortunately. Right. But
yeah, man.
What can I tell you? Yeah, man. Well, it's a good thing to stay home because if I hadn't, then I would have missed the show.
But you can always watch it on replay. That's one thing. What good thing? Never watch it on replay.
Yeah. No, I do watch replays, but sometimes you want to comment and you want to call in sometimes,
That is true. Because I plan to do less live and do more 10 minutes. Because people tell me to do more 10 minutes because I not get enough subscribers. So I've been getting advice to do more 10 minutes. And I was gonna do a 10 minutes on this today and then said, I can't do 10 minutes for this. 10 minutes not gonna do it justice. Can't do justice.
Listen, Frankie, listen. This thing, what you're doing right now, starting a YouTube channel, is patience.
I want to tell you, I'm not on patience.
No, you have to. No, this now come overnight. Your subscribers and like not when you just pop up and just come like that. You see, I have been following these guys in England, AFTV, and United Stand. They actually started it, And them started this YouTube thing.
Robbie
and Mark.
Yeah, I don't know Mark that well, but I know Mark a little bit. Mark Goldberg. You're talking about Mark Goldberg, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Both of them. I remember when both of them, they started. And this is what? Remember I said they're going a few years now, Probably.
Yeah, Robbie's from 2012. 2012, Robbie. Start.
Yeah. So much I will tell you, say, it now come overnight. See? So you have to put in the work. So
but so me just retire. So that's why I can't. Me just retire from a regular job, So I never retire for really work, But this is more work than I thought it would be. You can't retire for your regular job. I'm gonna do it, just go start the work again, especially in the work now and provide any income from it. I say, even though it's a love still, it's a love, mainly a love. But people don't understand that. If you don't have a producer, see more than people here that run them show them have producers, We'll go into the research and just give them information and then just relay the information.
AFTV and United Stand, them just stage right now, they make so much money. It's a job for them now, a business. So they can afford to hire those producers and they themselves don't have to go out and do all the research. They have people that do that for them and just report to them.
Yeah.
And what I like about
they're doing well.
And what I like about this is that there's so many other channels start up in England right now, and all of them combine together and work with them one another,
Yeah, that's true, actually.
And because there's so much right now. Because Terrence, Terrace, the football Terrace.
Yeah.
I remember when he started too.
Okay.
And him just work and see there. Right now, him think big.
Yeah, no, even what's his name? Troops. I see Troops has about 300,000 subscribers. And Troops came through Robbie.
Him came to AFTV, AFTV.
Then he came to the US to work with one of those platforms.
Get a 3-year deal.
Yeah, it didn't work out well, so him go back to England.
Yeah, him get a 3-year deal. It never worked out well.
Yeah.
But at least him spend 3 years and make some money. Barstool sponsor.
Yeah, Barstool did sponsor him. Yeah, I need to figure out to get to one of those platforms. I gotta. You know what? I'm not sure I don't want to do all that work. Actually, I must admit, I'm not sure I want to go back to a regular job, because if you do it the right way, that's why I said when I came home this evening, I spent 3 hours trying to garner materials to come and talk to people. That's when people see me get upset about not getting likes, and people don't understand. I get frustrated if I do the work. I mean, ask if I like, and you act like somebody do me a favor. That's how me get perturbed, right? Because me knows me put in some time for this. I want to come and just talk about something off the top of my head without doing some research and try to bring you content, which we think is going to make sense and we can have a good debate, right? So that's why I see sometimes you see YouTubers come ask for the like, because sometimes them do work, forget the likes, basically.
I know the likes is what propel the content.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So I understand, but as I say, you have to have patience. Understand?
Yeah. Well, people like me now have zero. I'm gonna tell you, zero. I may admit, zero patience. I thought about shutting the channel down. I must admit, I'm like, I can't be doing this for 0 likes or whatever. But I have friends who's like, no, you gotta keep doing this, and I'm like,
you have to keep doing it, man. Yeah, man. You have to find the time, man. You have to just find the time and just keep going, man. I just say, come on, it's not come overnight. It's not going to come overnight.
I appreciate the encouragement. I appreciate great encouragement. Yeah. And me tell you, it's difficult. Sometimes try to get guests, like people tight with them time is a shame. Or if you talk to certain people, here's how this is all funny, right? And they get mad at you if you say certain things which they may not favor. Right? I can't call on name, but some people just get upset.
No, I understand, man. But this is what I tell. This is what I'm telling you about the Englishman them now. So many other channels start, and everybody who is up there already help this man to build his channel. Right. Understand?
Yes. Yeah, because I see Flex and all them and Robbie's channel, they all convene, they have their own channel.
Look on Saeed. Saeed is a Man U fan. Man them talk. Look how him just start him channel and him gone over 100 subscribers already.
Which one?
Saeed.
Oh, okay. Saeed.
Saeed, yeah, man. Saeed's a Man U. He's a Man U fan.
Okay. No. Saeed, actually.
He used to talk a lot. That's stoutish with him, kind of fat, thick away, fat.
He's not Nigerian, is he? I don't think so.
I'm not sure. But the name of his channel, I think, one of his programs is called Man Them Talk.
Man Them Talk, so like a Jamaican. Okay, you know a lot of guys have Jamaican affiliation or Jamaican heritage. That's why people you talk about reject people from England.
Flex is Jamaican.
Yeah,
Robbie is Jamaican.
Flex, Robbie.
Troops is Jamaican.
You know, Troops mix up, but Troops are Jamaican too.
No, Troops is Jamaican.
No, he mix up, but they're Jamaican.
He's half-breed. But his Jamaican side is from Marvel. You talk it all the time.
Yeah, no. One thing people don't understand now. People that love them Jamaican heritage, you know.
This is what I
love them Jamaican heritage. So when people at Jamaica push back, you said yourself, you guys don't understand. You have the privilege of living in Jamaica. Because I have friends from England. When they go to Jamaica, they ain't coming back at least a month. They're not running back to England. Especially they go like after July or after August.
Yeah.
They're spending month plus. I have a friend of mine, she and her significant other go. She always leave him in Jamaica. Because she spent 3 weeks, gotta go back to work. He's like, no, I'm going to take some extra time.
Yeah, man. The English guy, them have them things set, man. Them help each other. Them always help each other. So this is what the Jamaican guys are not doing.
Well, no, I think some of the Jamaican guys get along, but they're still new to the process, right? Everybody's fighting for the same fan base and the same space. That's part of the challenge you run into, right? It's a much broader base for those in England because it's global. What we're doing here is much more siloed in terms of the fan base because if you come on this channel now and you start talking about something different, a lot of people are not turning on because if not, but Jamaican, I'm not coming on. No. I have a friend of mine, I tease him, I said, okay, I'm going to do this program today, and I can bet you what the number is going to be versus tomorrow I do this. Here's what the number is going to be. And it's always right. Some topics trigger engagement, some do not. So how do we expand our horizon to embrace other information, not just what says Reggae Boyz or Reggae Girls or Jamaica, right? That's part of the challenge. So you'd have to pivot. I talked about this the other day. You got to make a change and say, okay, I'm going to do much broader context. And if I don't get the viewership, I'm going to make the sacrifice now because later on it's going to be broader. And maybe you change the content. So I'm thinking through that because it's a little bit challenging, to be honest.
All right.
Yeah, man.
But I think you need to get back to your show now. I think I'll encourage you.
No, it's good conversation. It's good conversation. People, I'm still
man.
I'm not tuned out yet. I'm not tuned out yet.
Yeah, man. As somebody, I can't really see it still. If Greenwood was CR7, I'll be forgotten.
No. People don't seem to understand it. No, there's certain things nowadays, whether it's the US, it wasn't forgotten for Brown. It was written for Chris Brown. It's still not forgotten. People still say they're not going to deal with Chris Brown. Even though he has a career now, people talk about Chris Brown would be a much bigger star like a Michael Jackson if he wasn't his confrontation with Rihanna. And I think they're probably right because Chris Brown is ridiculously talented. Chris Brown is talented. If you play basketball, no matter what it is, Chris Brown is talented people. Off the chart talented.
Well, what he did to Rihanna really hurt his career now, but he still have a career going.
Right. It wasn't like Ray Rice where his career was over, right? Because in Ray Rice's situation is a minute area. You only play NFL. You can't control Chris Brown because people are going to buy tickets to go where they want to go. NFL controls the whole thing. They have to subscribe to certain standards, supposedly, even though NFL is probably the worst place where these things happen over and over again. But it's a bit different when you talk about somebody and it's music and it's global. It's a little bit different. But the Chris Brown career got affected significantly, but he's bounced back.
Man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I never like him deal with Ray Rice too. Shouldn't take away the man career just like that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
The man do everything. The man and his woman make up, but they got married. You know.
They will never live that down. It'll be permanent scar. It's a permanent scar.
I tell you, sometimes women realize they cause their man to react a certain way, you know. And I think she probably, because I really feel like she was the cause of hitting her, you know. And she realized that, and she knows that she love her man and her man love her. So they're just going to patch things up and continue. She never leave. You understand?
Well, someone may initiate it, but the severity, it's like somebody touching your shoulder and you give them a right hand. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but
I understand what
the action was severe. I mean, if you knock somebody out cold, because you had a confrontation. Even if she had spat at you or she had hit you, there's context. So what the vigor, and when you're a strong person like he was too, as a football player, running back, you're extremely strong. That's talk about decision making again. You have to be cognizant of your situation, cognizant of your strength, and cognizant of the implication of what transpired. And unfortunately for him, I say fortunately or unfortunately, the cameras were rolling, and somebody leaked the cameras, somebody leaked the pictures, and that was his career. So she got hurt, by that, both physically and financially, because if they share their proceeds from his activities, she got hurt financially. So she got hurt twice, basically, physically and financially.
I heard you said any man who put on an woman is a wimp or something like that.
Yeah, I did say that. I'm not taking that back either.
Well, the whole thing now. I don't know how you grew up, but I know how I grew up. Understand?
Yeah.
And I grew up in some rough neighborhood, and I have seen women do some things that, well, I'm not. Sometimes them deserve to get it down. You have some. That's I say I don't know how you grew up, but I know how.
No. I mean, look, we probably grew up in similar eras. We probably grew up with the same macho environment. But in a macho environment, to me, you don't hit women. That's another thing too. You don't understand that. In a macho environment, you don't hit women.
I've never done, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. But I have seen women done some things, I tell you. So woman left a young baby and gonna dance whole night in a house by themselves. Young baby, not about 4 year old, 4 month old baby.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
And when father come home and realize that now come from work and realize that one man get mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm trying to say, woman do some things more time to trigger off man certain way. So.
But then that's where you get the self-control, which is, and those are tough, right? If you're endangering the person's kid, that's tough. But I still don't think you should be doing something egregious like that. You can always leave the relationship and take your kid with you. But yeah, I'm not believing in them. What Ray did or what Chris Brown did or what Mason allegedly did.
I don't agree with it. Yeah. I don't agree with it. But sometimes things just happen. But cranky.
Yeah, man.
I wonder if you're related to the cranks them.
No.
People.
No.
Arsenal.
No. Actually,
there's some lineage there.
No, there's no lineage. You know what happened? So I took the Cranky name from Cranky. I initially called myself Stan Cranky for my own reason because he's getting abused, and I'm always saying Cranky was right in how they approach things financially. It's a prudent way to manage your business. I didn't agree with fans who were abusing him. So I said, you know what, I can do this because I'm comfortable in my own skin to do this. That's why I did it. But
you're Arsenal fan?
Yeah, man, big Arsenal fan. But I also said this. Yeah, I also said this, which is, if I'm going to start a YouTube channel, I can't use his name, and I may have trouble down the road. Just like how it was Arsenal Fan TV, and they have to use the acronym AFTV because Arsenal pushed back on them.
Yeah.
So I jumped the gun and stopped calling myself Stan Cranky, and then say what name would resonate, would have the same sounding to it, but also would create some kind of vibes to it. And instead of using the C, I use the K, and still have the cranky sound to it. So that's what's rational for cranky. And I just make it cranky light. Yeah. That's what rational for cranky. Otherwise, I would have still used Stan Cranky because I love the abuse Stan get in some respects. At the same time, I thought Stan was smart and financially prudent to not just be like Arsene Wenger would do, will not spend a ton of money on players. That makes no sense. But in today's environment, no matter, can you make the bet by the money. So
no, well,
in those times, things have changed. We have more money.
I know. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They should have done a long time, because unlike my team now with these Jew leeches. Understand, Region?
What leech? No. Look, I think people don't realize this, and I'm gonna close it down soon. I'm gonna realize this, which is this: if I own an asset, so I own a team, it's my team. The difference in England is the fans think it's their team. Well, no, the fans know it's their team. They just don't put any money into it in terms of buying the team. And you can't. England is different from Europe is different from most places else, which is if the fans don't agree with you, they're gonna pressure you. Now, American owners believe they own a team like the Knicks. I'm a Knicks fan, forever, and we have won anything, it's still sold out, right? And you can't say anything to what's his name that owned the Knicks because he does what he wants to do. But in England, it's different. The fans will protest. They'll put banners up in the air. They will do all sort of stuff. The pressure you, and owners, most times fans fire the coaches. You know, some owners don't want to fire certain coaches. Fans just fire them. Fans say that's it. Done. You gotta go.
No, but look how my team run. From Sir Alex retired. Look how the man them run the club, man. You have a man who is a bank man doing the business. The man them don't know how to scout. Them don't know how to buy players. Them spend big and give out stupid wages.
Right.
I understand.
Yeah.
And that's what's been killing Man U over the years, for the 10 years since Sir Alex gone. You want to sell a player, but you can't sell him because his wage too high.
Yeah, Man U overpays players actually, which is kind of sad. More than any other team in England, frankly, they overpay for regular mediocre talent. Rashford make what, 400,000? Didn't De Gea make about 400,000? Rashford make 3 something. De Gea makes about 400. Why you gonna pay a goalkeeper $400,000 a year?
Close to 400, yeah.
Does that make sense to any? I said dollars, not pounds, by the way. So it's about $400,000.
Oh, yeah, man.
About $400,000 a year. How you gonna pay a goalkeeper that money? Which goalkeeper in the world make that money? He's not. His name is not Ronaldo or Mbappe or Bellingham. He doesn't play out on the field. So Man U will overpay for whatever reason, and they get rid of They got rid of him when his contract was up, and he wasn't even that old as a goalkeeper. So they overpay.
Well, in your season, no, and they might change all of that.
Yeah. They are making some changes, but I hear. So what do you think? By the way, people, I'm doing a watch along on the Man U game tomorrow. I'm thinking about doing. Thinking about doing a watch along tomorrow, the Man U game. So if you want to come and join me, maybe because I'm changing my cable company tomorrow, so I don't know what time they're gonna be finished. But I hope to do a watch along on Man U game against Fulham tomorrow. I think it's gonna be a good game. I want to see how ESR is playing, who we just sold to Fulham, and how Man U does to start the season. So if you guys have time, you want to join, please do so. All right, sir.
I'm going to be watching.
All right. Appreciate you joining. I appreciate the call.
Yeah, man. Respect, man.
Yeah, man. Bless up. All right, people. If you want to call in, I'm gonna do the 2 hours and done. We have 18 more minutes. If I don't get any more call, I'm gonna close down. First of all, people, thank you for being here. I appreciate you being here. I'm gonna apologize to Damien again because I think I got a little bit overboard there. I thought he was talking about me and should leave Mason alone. I got into my feelings, so I apologize, Damien. And those of you who hit the like button, thank you. If you haven't done so, please do so before you leave. As I mentioned before, I hope to be here tomorrow. If my cable company finish, I have to get reminded of cable company people because, first of all, they gave me a streaming service. We never access streaming. We want to have regular cable. The plays are on time. And during the Olympics, I realized that I was like 10 seconds slower than a normal cable box, which I didn't ask for, and they gave me more recently. And then again, my thing wasn't working well the other day, so I'm changing them. So hopefully finish by tomorrow. But if they finish the installation by tomorrow, I'm going to come back and do a watch along. I'm looking forward to the start of the EPL season. It should be another great season. I'm very optimistic about Arsenal and the fact that I hope that we can dethrone Manchester City. They have one too many people. They have one too many. It's about time we have a new champion. Liverpool gave them a run for a few years, but now it's like they're on their own. I know 2 years in a row we choked 1 year. Last year we ran them close, but then we lost twice to Villa, which is not forgivable. It's not good. But this year we're even stronger defensively with Calafiori, and I hope we get Marino. So it should be a good season, people. So whatever team you support, because we know most of them are bandwagonists. And I support Nottingham Forest. You know what I mean? Watch Ipswich because Hutchinson played for Ipswich. And by the way, I'm looking forward to Hutchinson having a very good season in the EPL. Kid has a lot of talent. Just have to calm down and play good football. He's going to be in a tough situation because he won't have much of the ball given how the EPL is. But hopefully he plays well. And hopefully he comes to Jamaica. And I know I've been told that he's going to come back. So hopefully it materializes. Right? Because I think he's going to be a value for Jamaica if he come and play to us. So if we get him and some of the other players we're hearing, there's a lot of noise out in the street, people, about McClaren, his ability to recruit, the prospects for recruiting, what that would mean for Jamaica. I wonder how some of the people in the team are feeling, because, and I've said this about players, people, you me say this 101 times, because every player we bring in cost somebody their game, I don't think people think about it that way, That's how I think about these things. Having been in those situations as an amateur myself, where, all the big ball them coming and you get pushed to the side sometimes. It's not a good thing, people. So we don't think about the individual. We don't think about, a better player coming. So I'm wondering how some of these players in the team think, whereby we bring in some of the more well-known baller with different pedigree, better pedigree. There's only 23 spots in the squad now, 25, So if you're a part of that normal 25, your spot may be gone. You may not be called. Whether you're locally developed, based, or overseas, your game may be gone, because if you're bringing out Hutchinson, you're bringing out Greenwood, you're bringing out Aarons, those players, they're going to take somebody's spot. So it should be interesting. Mr. Lansley Blake, you're late. You come when the program is done. Maybe it's a good thing, because when you start talking a lot, the day over. When you call in the day over, we just go home. You just dominate as you normally do. Good content. Don't get me wrong, but so you take up the airwaves. But good night, sir. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you being here. We were just talking about tomorrow. I'm planning to do a watch along of Man U Fulham. So hope everyone in the chat can join. And I realized something, people, which is interesting. Watch along get enough views, people. I didn't realize that as much, but it's not views during the watch along. I think people come in and out. Is after the watch along is done, you saw the views are crazy views sometimes. I did the Olympics. I had so many people I'm not sure what happened. Somebody must have pushed some button in Kenya. There are so many Kenyans that did viewership. So, and I need more Jamaica viewership, people. I was looking at my numbers the other day. Most of my viewership is not from Jamaica. Most of my viewership is from US, Canada, Kenya, UK. Jamaica is a decent number, but it's not what it should be, people. So people in Jamaica, I don't know if you treat me better. Not treating me well at all. Not getting enough subscribers or viewership from. I was talking about subscribers, not necessarily viewership. Both viewership and subscribers, actually. So people in Jamaica, I don't know what I did to you, but whatever I do, I'm going to take it back, and you can subscribe to the channel and view the channel. And I'd appreciate it. So people, the evening is almost over. The program is almost over. If you want to call in, I think people call in. I'm not running. The numbers run across the stream. I have about 10, 13 minutes left. If I don't get any calls, I'm just going to close it down. But first, I want to say again, as I normally say, that I appreciate you being here. You could be any place else doing something different. It's Friday evening. People have a lot of stuff to do. As Jamaicans, parties to go, families to do. Friday evening, go to dinner, take your significant other out to dinner. Didn't have to be here with me, but you're here with me, and I appreciate you. All right. And what's it? Thursday. I'm talking about Friday. But I mean, days mixed up. So when you retire, you confuse the days. Then it's Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday. Tomorrow is Premier League startup. I may do what. I'm not sure I'm going to. I will do one tomorrow. I was thinking about doing Arsenal game on Saturday, but I'm not sure I'm going to do it. I know my friends in England always do it, and when they come on their channel, so we'll see how that works. We have done a joint thing, but I was told not to do the joint thing, so I have to figure that out. Maybe we'll do alternate ways of doing it, which they come on mine and I go on theirs periodically. But I love engaging with my friends from the UK because they have been great to me, and we had good time bantering and talking about football just in general. But EPL is back, people. NFL gonna start soon. I'm gonna do some NFL stuff. I'm gonna do EPL stuff. When basketball stuff, I'm gonna do basketball. It's supposed to be a sports channel, not just a Jamaica football channel. So I want to make sure we're diversified in terms of the things that we talk about. Yardi, I think you're a negative AI now. I did the AI thumbnails for a reason. They're more appealing, frankly. When I do the regular thumbnail, I get feedback, good feedback on the AI thumbnail. So nobody I talk about. Not only Young, I know that, but I'm saying people in Jamaica. I know Young. I know Jamaicans in the UK, in the US. I know that. I know it's diaspora, but I'm not claim diaspora in Jamaica. I'm not claim diaspora. So I mean, I cover that. Mr. US. I'm not claim diaspora. So I can't answer that. But the diaspora people, good night, good evening. Who am I talking to?
This is Lansley Blake.
All right, people. I did say 10 minutes left in the Lansley. Can we know you stayed along, Steve? It's 10 minutes left. So go on. Go on. So the
I
10
do
minutes
not
is
like-
yours.
I do not like to be charged unduly for things I am not guilty of. So I just called in since I had to defend my name,
Okay.
But on the whole matter of Greenwood being recruited, I don't think Jamaica has the moral high horse position to stand on as it relates to his recruitment. We have had.
I know. I would qualify. Let me qualify. I mean, some Jamaicans, because we can't put everybody in the same pot, Say some Jamaicans. I think that you got to qualify this Jamaica statement, right?
I am not Leon Bailey, and I did not misspoke. I said Jamaican, as in the majority classification in my English language usage. Jamaica as a country does not have the moral high ground to stand on as it relates to recruiting persons who have committed infraction, the likes of Mason Greenwood.
Well, allegedly covered infraction, because we know sure Mason Greenwood did it. So yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Accused of or
yes. Accused of. Yes.
Accused.
Yes.
Good. Because he was not tried on the matter, and for all intents and purposes, the case was thrown out.
Yes.
So he is a free man and has not been proven guilty.
That is correct.
Now, for those who have taken the position that he is guilty but privileged, you still don't have a moral high ground. We have voted for ministers of government who have been charged. Done time. And we vote for them. We have gone to church to sit in the pews and listen to pastors who have been charged. Done time. And we shout hallelujah, praise the Lord. So how do we castigate the young man, 22 years old, who even, and I'm saying, even if you have the evidence to say he is guilty, which the court did not, you do not have the moral high ground to stand on to castigate the man who, by all intents and purpose, has gone to rehab, has been putting in the work to reform himself, and has been set free by the court. The only sin one will not be forgiven for is blasphemy. And so, as I typed on another platform, iMaxit or no, it was iMaxit that I typed on. Mason, if it is your desire to play for Jamaica, welcome home. And I pray, God, that you will continue to grow, mature, and increase in size and stature, as well as in moral conduct and behavior. May the good Lord bless you and enlarge your borders and your territories, and bless you with all he intended to. And for the rest of Uno, let me talk to the Jamaican who cannot digest it, find a high place and jump off, or go die on the hill where jackasses die, like Judas the betrayer. I have said my say. It did not take me 10 minutes on Mason Greenwood recruitment. Oh, he laughed. You don't have a question, so I will hang up now and listen to the program as you close off.
No, I'm sad. I laugh. I was responding to somebody who say speaky spooky.
Oh, I speak. I will credit my plethora of English teachers and communication.
That's using the word plethora is also being speaky spooky.
No, I said I will credit the plethora of English teachers that sought to my development in language usage and my oral communication professors.
I think the person who's saying that is just jealous of your ability to articulate yourself. That's all. Don't worry about it. They're just jealous.
Cranky?
Yeah.
And I'm more fluent in patois than some of them who are talking.
They think you're not, people don't understand this. So a friend of mine from India once told me, he's like, you know, I have to put you on speed sometime. I'm going to work and listen to your program because you listen to it on replay, right? And it's like, sometimes you say some things, I don't understand what you're saying. And I didn't took back that to, you know what? I'll talk patois still, but I have to make sure that I understand that my audience is going to be broad-based. So if I'm talking words in patois, some people may not get it. They're going to be saying, what are you saying? It makes no sense.
Cranky, what people don't realize, Jamaica is not the world.
Yeah.
There are how many? And 7 or 9 billion people in the world. Jamaica only have 3 million. Or at least 7 to 10 million. So if I speak in the Jamaican dialect, who am I communicating with? Because the half of Jamaica that has left Jamaica to make up the diaspora, about 25% of them alone can handle patois.
Yeah.
So who will I be speaking to? Just Jamaicans?
Well, you know, Jamaican take it enough if they take it as an offense if someone is from Jamaica and they have migrated and now they communicate in the platform, and if they're not talking patois, some people get offended, and I'm like, but you understand what I'm saying, so why are you offended? And especially since that the platform you're talking to, it's important that you're speaking English, so everyone who watch your videos and engage with you, it's clear what you're saying.
Let me just reiterate something you just said. Your largest fan base is not Jamaican.
Well, it's Jamaica. It's overseas.
In the island.
Yeah, it's not in the island. No.
So how do we in an international stage speak to Jamaica alone? We would be fools, and I don't plan to be labeled as such.
I hear you, Pastor.
I took the liberty of educating while I was in district pastoring in Jamaica, of educating and challenging my young people to be prepared to make their mark on the world, not just on Jamaica. You can stay in Jamaica and do it, but make your mark on the world. That way, your passing might not be as a ripple across a pool of water. You must make significant contribution. Some people, the only thing they will know about Lansley Adolph Blake, the pastor, on youth is that he articulated himself well and he's passionate on any subject that he speaks on. So if you don't do that properly, sorry. My teachers made their mark on the world. They prepared me. I make no apologies. I celebrate them on several occasions where I make sure I call them by name because I am grateful for the part they played in my development. Who cannot manage it? Get on a rooftop. And I'm going to use the Sidney Poitier experience. The Bahamian that became first in a lot of things as a black man in the entertainment industry, in the movie industry, in the United States. you can achieve actually anything, if not everything, that you set your mind to and work hard to achieve. He got the shock of his life when he went to audition for a part because no one could understand him. His speech was not marketable. But the man became one of the best orators across the movie industry the world has ever seen. And that's it. On the paper, on the top of a high-rise building, listening to BBC on a transistor radio. He learned to speak proper English. How ironic that I got the privilege to probably the last of the media practitioners that is fluent in BBC English. I sat for a major part of a semester with Faye Ellington, teaching me voice and diction. And she's a purist when it comes to pronunciation, voice and diction, and quality of that woman made me the ridicule of the class one day. She said to, if she ever turn up at a church and see me with a mic in front of me, she's walking out. She don't care what I am preaching. You're too loud. So she spent time teaching me to modulate, but the loudness is not going to go away.
Well, I think you were a good student. I think you're a good student.
I practiced to be loud from a very young age, and loud is a blessing.
So being loud, is that more impactful? Is that why you're loud?
I was 8 years old when I had a dream. And when I woke up, I started doing things to actualize and realize my dream. I dreamt that I was a pastor and I was married to a nurse.
So does that mean you're still dreaming?
As long as you're alive, Frankie, it's instructive that you know that you should dream. Dream big dreams.
Okay.
The pastor that I used to attend the Apostolic Church in Knockpatrick, Pastor James, was a very loud man. And I told myself from that age that I'll be louder than Pastor James. I am. I am sure I am louder than him. Or I became much louder than him. And yes, I was married to the nurse.
IMAX says, why haven't you never joined me on my Balanced Views platform, where I talk about everything except sports?
I don't know that I'm a subscriber to that platform yet.
Okay.
I am not sure. I don't think I've found it yet.
Yeah, it's out there. I mean, I haven't done any shows this week on it because I'm thinking about doing more 10-minute videos because it takes a lot to do 2 YouTube channels and 2 sets of shows in the same day.
I haven't found that one yet. As you can recall, I was struggling to get this thing cleared where I'm able to type in the chat. I finally got through it, even though yourself and JD told me that both of you said that you would help me to sort it out. But
no, it's called balanced views. Here's what's funny. So I did my 3rd video on there when I had about 50 subscribers. I think it's about 140 something now. I just put Trump something and I got 1,000 views on one of my my 1 hour show. You just put Trump in America. You get Trump anything and you get views.
You're in America and you want the Trump things.
You just write Trump and you get views. So I'm gonna do a lot of Trump for my balanced views. I'm gonna do a ton of Trump starting next week again. I'm gonna do a lot of Trump stuff. A lot of Harris and Trump stuff, you get a lot of views. If you want to get views, just do Harris and Trump. That's it. That's view business. Tons of views. I don't get a lot of comments, except for some people who are Trump fans who take offense to anything you say that's may deem to be anti-Trump. But no, it's good. It's good. It's good. I'm going to do more of it, but
well,
later on. Not as much now. I'm probably delayed a little bit.
I I've had that problem for all my youth growing up. I have been anti everything for some people because if it's not right, if it's not moral, if it's not true, I am anti it.
So, Pastor Richard is saying we will not be a slave to the Queen's English. So Richard is saying we're not going to be like the rest of the world being a slave to the Queen's English because the rest of the world speak English. Richard may not realize that. There's 300 million people in China learning English.
I'm going to respond to Richard by drawing a Bob Marley. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds.
Pastor, I wouldn't do the singing thing. That's like me DJing. I wouldn't do the singing thing.
No. I am not a singer. I am not. Unless I'm in the bathroom with the shower running, I am number one. So I am not one of those. I'm not going to get drawn into you and Jason Guna's debacle on international stage. No, sir. Please. But just for Richard, the Queen cannot enslave me with nothing, neither language nor anything else. Can Richard speak any African tongue? He's talking about he don't be enslaved. But does Richard know that Nigeria alone has 147 different dialects and or languages?
Yeah.
Does he know anything of the different dialects and languages in Ghana? Because that's where Ghana and Nigeria is where the most of the Caribbean blacks came from. He must talk about he will not be enslaved by the Queen's English. Does he know any African tongue?
No. So ask Richard why are we going to the Privy Council in England to satisfy cases that like they're a Supreme Court? Why are we going to England? Me tell you something. If we're not enslaved, we're still enslaved. Even though we get independent from the 60s, we're still enslaved.
Cranky.
Yeah.
Conveniently, and let me take this back to Mason Greenwood now. Conveniently, the lighter complexion Jamaicans are classified rape get, and we don't wear that title, you know. Now, any kind of abuse meted out to females by males would be classified somewhere closely related in that ballpark.
Okay.
How ironic that we are unforgiving towards Mason Greenwood when we are products of the same thing. And Mark, you know, he was only accused and charged, and the charge is dismissed.
Yeah.
This man has not been found guilty of anything.
I'm not even sure he was accused. The word accused is an interesting one related to Mason Greenwood. Something was posted in the public domain. He was then, because I don't think she went and says this person did this to me to prosecutors, you know, or to the police, you know. If you read all that informs this whole thing, I think they picked up what she had in the public domain. And somehow, did she go to the police subsequent? Or did they come to her? And then what transpired afterwards?
In certain sovereign states, you do not need to report it anymore.
Right, true.
They are clamping down heavily on physical or sexual abuse of any kind. So once they get wind of it, you don't need to report it.
But they need they sometimes need your cooperation though. Not all the time, but need your cooperation a lot of times. Yeah.
No. But hold on.
To make the case.
They might not get her cooperation, but get the cooperation of her parents or guardian. And she now has to stand up as an adult, and maybe that's how the case got thrown out. Because she stand up as an adult and say, listen to me, I plan to spend the rest of my life with this man, and I am not going down this road with you now.
Right.
So once she gets that on file, they can't go no further. And maybe that's how the case got dismissed. There were outside influences peddling their own interests to make it go as far as it did. But once she gets up, then they are in problems.
Right.
And that is why the large female population within the area that they were could make the call that Manchester United gets credit because they have a large female fan base.
Yep. Someone said if we accept Marlon King, we must can accept Mason Greenwood.
I'm not cranky. I'm not taking it down to the footballers. You have these same people in the chat who make them accusation and try to play hardball. They vote for ministers of government every single election who were not only charged but found guilty and spent prison time. Tell them to challenge me on it. They go to churches and sit in pews in front of pastors who are ex-cons. Where is your moral high ground after you doing that? This whole foolishness about being purist doesn't exist. We are born in sin, shapen in iniquity, living in a sinful world. Bad decisions is a thing. Doing foolishness is a thing. Immaturity getting the best of us is a thing. And that makes the value of forgiveness the biggest thing. So as long as there's a mental framework where he sees that he did something wrong, he made amends and is putting in the work to develop himself and grow himself, leave the young man the hell alone. Oh, no, the heaven alone.
Yeah, try send music hell faster.
No, the correct English usage would say the hell alone, but I'm cleaning up the language.
Okay.
I'm making the language, according to Dr. Sajabi Smith, you can be grammatically right, but morally wrong. So that's why I changed the hell alone to the heaven alone. Allow the young man to develop and achieve what God has in store for him. Leave the man alone.
Yeah, look, I mean, I hope the kid decide to, I hope he makes a decision about that. Yes or no, and just tell us he's making a decision, right? Say, yeah, I want to do this, or no, I don't want to do it, so we can stop speculating. Getting tired. It's like Hutchinson. Come and he goes. Make up a decision. Make a decision. Whatever decision you make, I'm fine with the decision. If you decide to come,
that's why
it's fine. If you decide not to come, it's fine.
If that is your desire to go play for Jamaica, just do it. Welcome home. And let all the moral high ground wannabes die on that high ground like Judas Iscariot on the hills where jackasses died. Because they believe dying on a hill is the same every case. Jesus died on Golgotha's hill. Judas died on the hill where jackasses die.
You know, Pastor, Pastor, yeah, lose me now. Yeah, lose me. You know why I lose me? Because may I admit people.
You say you're not religious.
No. Let me say
that
people.
Only makes when I come on that when I visit that platform and we'll have this ground, I will point out how lie you are. That you are not religious.
I am not religious because of a moral conscience or moral compass doesn't make me religious.
We won't start that conversation here. I said, when I visit that platform, I will present evidence to the people how like Frankie is on his religiosity.
No, what do you mean lie? I'm not a religious person. I've stopped going to church. No, Pastor. Let me say this, Pastor.
Frankie?
Yeah.
Frankie.
I'm not religious.
Every atheist is a liar.
I'm not an atheist either.
I never said you were an atheist, sir.
Okay.
I drew an example. I never said you were an atheist.
Every atheist is a liar.
You have people who like to say, I am non-denominational. Rubbish.
We have to have, you know what? You got to come on balanced view. We got to have the debate. We have to have the debate on balanced views. It's not the right forum. We have to have it.
That's what I said. Leave it.
Let me say this, people. So here's what I'm going to get beaten. I'm going to get beaten tonight. I'm going to drop this. I'll drop the mic thing. I'm not buying the Jesus thing. I'm not buying the Jesus thing. I'm not buying the Jesus thing. I'm telling you. People, me nah buy the Jesus thing. Me buy the God thing. Me nah buy the Jesus thing.
Cranky.
Can't convince me.
Cranky?
Yeah, can't buy the Jesus
Cranky.
thing. Yeah.
I can give you a name for the man you call Jesus for every letter of the Greek alphabet. So, like the brethren that Paul met on Mars Hill, with the write in the stone to the unknown God, I will introduce you by a name that you cannot deny.
So pastor, we can have the comment. We do some pastor about this whole thing, which is people. We can't, this is a whole. This is not even a 1 hour show. It's like a 5 hour show to talk about this. Because when I tell me say Jamaica, let me say people to Jamaica talk about fire and cranky. Come about Jesus thing. Wanna have the most per. I call no no. Me say we. Wanna have the most per capita church in Jamaica in the history of mankind. Wanna have the most, probably the highest murder rate in Jamaica. Talk about regular murder. Man, talk about like people like Sudan who kill off each other in one war. In the history of mankind, one of the highest in the history of mankind.
Without any civil war, we're always in the top 3.
Yeah. Exactly. But I talk about no civil war thing. So how does one reconcile that situation? You praise God with one hand and shoot, and you have to fight the gun with the other hand. That's another. Praise God with the left hand, fire gun with the right hand.
Let me tell you how you reconcile it. Like Nehemiah rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem, his trowel in one hand, smashing mortar and laying brick, and his sword in the other, chopping off boys who try to climb up the wall. We will do this on that platform. Don't worry. I have a Bible. I will teach
but here's the thing. First of all, you have to, people, I'm telling them this, don't beat me now. People, history. You see what DeSantis is doing in Florida about trying to manipulate history and not teach certain things in school? So people don't think. I mean, I want nobody to think funny now. Don't you think history previously has been manipulated a certain way to satisfy certain groups and some demographics and certain persuasion? You don't think history has been manipulated? Yes. And what we're learning may not in actuality be what it really truly was?
Yes.
Because some people think that because it's in the Bible, it's written a certain way, then it has to be the truth. Right?
All right, Cranky.
Yes.
Listen to.
But it's not the right program. But I'm just saying, people. I'm just saying.
Just listen to this part. Just listen to this pastor. But on this topic.
Yes.
At this night.
Yes. Before we conclude, because we're supposed to conclude already. But go on, pastor.
Even when the thing is in the Bible that goes directly against me.
Yes.
I believe that every word chronicled between the pages of Genesis 1 and Revelation 22 is true.
Right. So here's a pastor said, which is important, people. He didn't say I know. He didn't say in fact. He said I believe. There's a difference. When you know something is... Wait, let me tell you something. Even scientists... Wait, 1 second, pastor. Even scientists make a ton of mistakes. When you and I growing up, pastor, maybe a little bit older than you are, when you and I were growing up, we were told there was about 12, 13 planets. And now we have no idea how many planets are out there.
Actually, I never so much them tell me.
But I heard it was 13.
Me can rattle off from Venus to Pluto. That is all they had taught me. And then after some years, they tell me to then find 2 more.
Well, when I was growing up, they say about 13. But I tell you, people, now they might tell me them can't tell how much planets are out there. So science only know what science knows, right? But we take... Wait, 1 second, pastor. But we take everything in the Bible as if it's a fact.
No, Cranky.
Yeah.
You know why science can't speak all about all the planets? Because they are trying to go contrary to the scriptures. If they didn't read them Bible, they would have no say and not just them Venus to Pluto there. Because the Bible says there are more. Yes. So
but the Bible will tell you how many they are. The Bible.
No.
Yeah.
Hold it. And that is the thing. The Bible didn't say there were 100, but it certainly gave you enough to know that there are several more than what scientists was counting.
Right.
So if the scientists had read the Bible, they would have known that the 12, what the 1 dozen that they know, there are several dozens.
Okay. So people, you
Because
came to
it is
watch a
chronicled.
sports channel, and we are now doing Balanced Views. You may not watch Balanced Views yet, but we're doing Balanced Views tonight at this close-off segment. Can we finish with sports channel now? The Balanced Views. So, Pastor, why there's so many? Pastor, so just connect something for me before I go. Why there's so many different religions? Why there's different versions of the Bible? And why is it that the people who lived in the Western, say in the Americas, the Indians way back when, why are they worshiping some people say are false gods, but the people from like the Middle East were worshiping the supposedly right God? Why is there such a confusion? Can you explain for the uninformed like myself?
I just draw an example parallel. Paul went to a place in scripture called Mars Hill, and these people were worshiping. And they had on the stones of their altar to the unknown God. There are people who don't know God, as Christians in the Western Hemisphere articulate the Godhead as being three with one purpose. But they know God based on their experience, and so they might give him a different name than Jesus. They might not know him as Jesus the Christ or the Savior, but they know God.
Oh, so you're saying that no, wait, back up. There's a difference between God and Jesus, you know. Right? One's supposed to be the Son, one's supposed to be the Father, correct?
Frankie.
Yeah.
I said you should have left this for Balanced Views. So, however, let me help you. If you understand the plurality of the Godhead, it is because you would have read in Genesis chapters 1 and 2, where there had to be more than one person present for let us make man in our image to be something that you accept.
So you're saying there are gods, not a God.
No. Hold on. This is theology now, Cranky. You're asking me to teach systematic theology.
Yeah, but we're here to learn. We're done with the cranky life. So people want to leave. We're talking scripture now, people.
Plurality in singularity.
Okay.
There is one God because God, by purpose, does not differ.
Right.
So there is plurality within the singularity that exists as God.
So how does one connect? So there's plurality within the... Wait, Pastor, me slowing on. Help me, Pastor. There is plurality within the singularity. Plurality within the singularity, right?
Yes.
So you're saying within the one single God, there is what?
There are
other gods?
Different persons that are one in purpose. So they are not one in being. Let me use that. There are different beings that make up the Godhead.
So you're saying the one. So that's confusing in the past. You're saying there's an over. It's like I think this equated to a corporate environment. There's the corporation, which is there's a one singular corporation, but there are subsidiaries on the corporation. Is that what you're saying?
No, because subsidiaries would be subjected to is a bad term to use. But here, let me find a better way to put it. They do not have differing views. They do not take different actions. There is not one that is in charge of the other. So the Son, while he serves the Father, gets the same servitude from the Father. The Holy Spirit serves both Son and Father, but gets the same servitude from both Son and Father.
So people,
there is not a difference in terms of position, place, or value.
And where does this singularity come from? How does the singularity originate?
You cannot define God to that, or he would not exist. The scripture is. Oh, by the way, let me say this before I answer that. For anything that I would prefer to be labeled as or called, I would be considered a biblicist. So if the Bible says it, I believe it, that settles it.
Right.
Done.
But suppose so you're trying to educate and inform me so I can be much more knowledgeable about this.
No. But you asked me the question,
Yes.
Where did this begin? Before anything was, I am. So God pre-existed any material thing that we can, or anything of matter that we can identify.
But one second, Pastor. Wait.
Himself. Hold on. God is by himself.
Right.
And without need of anything. He pre-existed everything.
So people, let me just say this, people, because no people. So I know sometimes people get carried away with some of these things because they're thinking, why are you even querying these things? Isn't it like innate? Isn't it like natural? Why are you querying it? And here's my question, people. If the God we're talking about is the God who made me, and the God knows everything I'm going to say or not say, then the God would know that I'm going to be questioning these things and challenging these things. Otherwise, you're confusing me.
Yes.
Right?
So, and that is why when you question it, for the matter of learning, Cranky, you are not banished from existence. Because God knows that the intent of the heart. No, only God can read your mind. Only God knows the full intent of your heart. So,
so you're saying God is not logical then?
No,
the concept of God is not logical.
You can't find God to logic.
No, wait. Right, I understand what I'm saying. The concept of God is, look, life itself is not logical, people, to be honest. The fact that the concept of God and the concept of life to me is not logical. Would we agree upon that? Would we agree upon that?
No, I don't. No, I don't agree with that.
What do you mean you don't agree?
Here is why I don't agree. No, Frankie, here's why I don't agree. Because God is beyond logic. He is more than being logical. But everything about man is lettered in scripture. And there is of God that God wants us to know and deem important that we know about him, lettered in scripture. So we can know a lot of things about God. You cannot know the totality of God, because then you would fall prey to what the Bible depicts, that the serpent used to trap Eve. You will become as God.
So, Pastor, is there any way, shape, or form that you could be wrong in your... Wait, no, let's back up. A couple of things. One is there any way, shape, or form the Bible could be wrong? Do you make an allowance for that? And why?
Right.
Wait, I'm not done. That's one. That's right. Hold that one. Secondly, why would it be that a certain specified group in the Middle East would be given all this information and knowledge to disseminate to the rest of the world versus anyone else? Why would the Bible say God have some specialized or favorite people when he's supposed to be a God who is omnipotent and therefore cannot have favorite, because that's a man's concept and about bias and favoritism? That's not a God's concept. That's a man's concept. Why does wait? The last point is this: why would anyone think that a God who's supposed to be omnipotent, unmitigated, everlasting, would have the features and the construct of man? Why would anybody conceive that? Or is it man's ego and wrote the Bible in the ego of man and the perception of man and perspective of man?
All right.
A lot there.
There's a lot there. I'm going to take the easiest one first, which is the last one. The reason man can conceptualize that we have and possess similarities, characteristics, physical, spiritual, emotional, psychological trait of God is from the foundationalized belief in Genesis chapters 1 and 2 that God chose to make man in his image. So if the divine, omniscient, all-powerful, if that God made a decision, there is nothing within creation that can dictate to Creator as to the wrong or right of his decision. Everything that we know was made, was created by God. So we are creatures. We cannot then dictate to the Creator. It is like you have developed 2 YouTube channels, correct?
All right.
But you allow me to be a member on the of the channel. But I am then going to dictate to you as to the purpose of the channel, the whys, and I question everything and I seek to put forth my own thing on your channel. You had asked, why is there so many different religions?
Right.
It was
And versions of the
Lucifer,
Bible. And versions of the Bible, yes.
and versions of the Bible.
Yes.
It was Lucifer who began the deviation from the God concept when he decided he wanted to elevate his throne, ideas, and self-indulgent purposes above the God who created him.
So you're
And
saying,
that
so
is
wait,
why
back
I
up. So you're saying God created Lucifer.
Yes.
Right. So stop. Wait, one second. But so here's the confusion, people.
No, you can't ask me that question because I haven't answered the 3 that you asked me before.
But hold up, no. Because sometimes when the 8 people, they need about 4 hours for these people. So let me say this.
No, you do, Frankie, I did systematic theology 1 and 2. That's 2 semesters, and I am not a systematician.
Right.
By any note. I can hold my own, but my professor, Dr. Lucien Isaac, has a PhD. And he's not an authority by himself on this subject. So don't get it twisted. 4 hours will bring forth some understanding, but it's not going to do justice to systematic theology.
Right. So
we can learn.
Here's the thing about all of these people, because I hear somebody saying, Cranky, if you read this thing, you would understand why God created Yahweh. And people, you have to first believe that stuff first before you can even think about, say you want to read some book. I don't think people understand the concept of what I'm trying to say here, the ideas I'm trying to put forward here, which is this. I think about these things rationally. And I know Pastor is saying you cannot do everything rationally when it comes to the concept of God and maybe even the concept of life. And I understand some elements of that because, as I said the other day, I know when I'm awake, I don't know when I'm sleeping, which is not rational and it's not logical. If people understand what that means. Right?
But Cranky,
yes.
When you awake from sleep, there are things imprinted on your consciousness while you were sleeping that you become aware of.
Yes. But I'm saying when you are sleeping and if you're in a deep sleep, you think it's live, it's real, right? A lot of time you're sleeping and you're experiencing certain activities, you think you are awake and you're doing these things. And when you're awake, you realize you're awake, right? Which is kind of strange because when you're sleeping, you don't know you're sleeping, which doesn't make any sense. So how do you know when you're awake when you're awake? But you do know you're awake when you're awake. You do know you're awake when you're awake, but when you're sleeping, you know you think you're still awake.
You don't know that you're sleeping.
Exactly.
You know you lay down to go to sleep.
Yep. Yes.
But consciousness is rested.
Yes.
Yes. So but that is the nature of man. That is how God chose to make us. And by the way, some of your questions, you will have to go to heaven to get the answer. You can ask God himself.
So Ernest makes a great. Ernest, Ernest, I'm gonna say this. Ernest make a point. I have to read Ernest's point because I've thought about this. Ernest long and hard. Ernest says, "Cranky, it's better for me to believe in God and die and realize it's all foolishness, and don't believe and die and realize that it exists." A Jamaican said, "Dog, name your supper." So here's the thing about that actually. So and he makes wait. By the way, people.
Sounds like he has been to evangelistic campaigns.
No, but people. I grew up with my great grandmother. I grew up with the most religious person in the history of mankind. Trust me. Been there, done that. Live in church. Get frustrated when I can't ask pastor a question from 11, 12 years old, so I stopped going to church. Trust me. So let me say this about that. It's a brilliant concept. It's how a lot of people live their life, right? Why take the risk, which is illogical for me not to do it that way? Why take the risk of there being a God and don't celebrate and serve the God versus the opposite? Let me say this, people. Here's how I think about this. I believe the concept of God and the notion of God is how you as a person live your life with your moral values, doing the right thing, helping your human being. And if you live that way, you ain't got to go to no church and support no quote-unquote God itself. You remember that. That's how I think about life in general.
So Cranky,
yes.
By that, I could label you. But I will not label you tonight. I will save it for when we have the discussion. And I will bring up to you that you literally, by what you just said, fall into a religious group.
But see that, but you want to put me in a group that I'm not belonging to. That's the thing.
No. This is what you say you are. This is what you say you are. I didn't put you in a group. That's why I say I'm not labeling you tonight.
Okay.
But I will show you that by virtue of how you decide to live, the moral construct that you have developed for yourself places you in a group.
Yeah, and look, look.
The caterpillar did not choose to be a butterfly.
Right.
It is a caterpillar in the pupa stage. It becomes a butterfly when it escapes the kind of the stage that it was in initially.
Right.
The maggot did not choose to be a fly.
Yeah, look. What Ernest says is a great point because I've thought about this for years, and I ask myself, why can't you just do that, Cranky? Why can't you just do what in Ernest says? And my brain says, hell no, you can't do that. Are you out of your mind? Didn't I give you a brain to think for yourself? Why would you even want to think that way? Just live your life in a way in which you're doing the right thing, what I deem to be morally, physically, I'm going to say spiritually, and you'll be okay.
I'm going to quote what may be the Bible's most fluid writer or speaker.
Right.
Paul, the good I would, I do not. The evil I would not, that I find myself doing. Cranky. You are experiencing the fulfillment of scripture in your life. You are more religious than you know. I will help you to find yourself.
let me say this, people. That's funny, actually. Let me say this, people, which is this. Look, I grew up. I used to go to the most boring church in the history of mankind, Presbyterian, every Sunday, dressed up in a suit with my great grandmother. I didn't grow up with my grandmother, great grandmother in Lucy, Hanover, between the ages of say 8 and like 12 when I resigned.
Lucy, Hanover, the Presbyterian church on the left side of Lucy on the hill?
Yes, that Presbyterian church.
Oh, Lord.
And I go to church like 10, 11. I've always been a very curious kid. And I would talk to my great grandmother, what can I ask the pastor a question? Because those questions I have now are the ones I want to ask. Like, so where did God come from? So why can't I see him? What, you have those questions as a kid and you can't ask any question. By the way, at church, you can't say anything. The music is boring. There's no jumping up. There's no hallelujah. There's no partying in that church. It's the most boring thing in the history of the sun.
Frankie.
And you have to sit there and listen in your Sunday best.
The church has been guilty of damaging a lot of young people. Let me not say more. That I'm trying to coin it correctly. Damaging a lot of young people to the point where the responsibility of the church to lead people to Christ, to God, becomes a foreign item because the church has so failed in its responsibility to meet the need of these young congregants. And that goes across several denominations and religious groups. The church is singularly responsible for too many persons like yourself, which makes the job of us pastors a little bit more tedious, but they're all the more interesting.
So, Pastor, here's a question. Here's my last question for you, Pastor, because I do have to. Let me last question for you, Pastor. Don't you think so? Okay, you won't think this way, but I'm gonna ask the question anyway. Couldn't it be that the fact that people, I'm not going to say man, because man is very, man is a wrong term to use to talk about these things. You know, the Bible talk about man. The Bible is very chauvinistic, by the way. But anyway, let me just say this. I'm going to throw that out there.
The Bible is not.
Bible is very chauvinistic, people. Very chauvinistic. But anyway.
The Bible is not.
Extremely. Hey, you know some, Pastor? I haven't read the Bible in years. No, the Bible is chauvinistic.
The scripture.
No, the Bible is chauvinistic, people.
Like that part to say it's chauvinistic. The Bible is all truthful.
I'm blessed of thought management. The Bible is the most chauvinistic book on the planet. But anyway, Pastor, let me say this, people. Could it be, Pastor, that because man, here I'm chauvinistic because of the Bible, because we as people cannot explain how we get here. That's why most people buy into the concept of God and religion. Because we cannot, it doesn't make any sense how we get here. Even God, concept of God doesn't make sense, people. I don't care what you want to tell me. It doesn't make sense logically. But as Pastor says, this is not logical. And I would be agreeing with that one point, which is none of this is the whole concept of life is not logical. It's not logical. Yes.
Can you explain to me how a black, brown, white, gray cow, choose any of those colors,
yes,
eat green grass, have red blood in its mammary glands, but produce white milk?
No, because some things we can't. But it goes back to the whole concept. No, wait, Pastor.
Hold on. I just want to take your answer. Stop it right at no.
No. But here's the point, though. That I just said the concept of life. Whoever made us didn't.
For man, anything I cannot explain is illogical. Is irrational. Is not reasonable, and that is why we have so many deviations from the word of God, because man has, like the serpent said to Eve, taken the initiative to be a god unto himself.
So here's a drop the mic, people. Here's drop the mic time now, people. Drop the mic time. So Pastor, two things, Pastor, who write the Bible?
The Bible
literally, who write the Bible?
Hold on. You asked me the question, just allow the answer. The Bible was written by men under the inspiration of God.
How do you know that?
Because the Bible says it.
But that man write it. Let's see if people say it.
Hold on.
Man, right? I didn't write it. So they must have been inspired.
One part of the Bible. Hold it. There is one part of the Bible. Or not one part. There are two parts of the Bible that the Bible itself says that God himself wrote. You want to know which two parts?
Go ahead.
No human being has taken the position that they wrote the Ten Commandments, nor did they write on the wall in Babylon the night when Belshazzar died.
But Pastor, here's the thing, Pastor. It's interesting about this, Pastor. Wouldn't, just like how we see people here manipulate the truth in current times, why would it, wait, Pastor, wait, no? Why would it be any different then? Why wouldn't they
Let
want?
me
Wait,
tell you
wait.
why.
Some people are saying the Bible is written by people who want to manage the masses, and therefore they set all these commands and these standards, right?
Frankie,
So they can function a certain way, so they could manage them because they were the elites,
Frankie,
and they don't adhere to it themselves.
Frankie.
Yes.
Frankie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Moses, the prince of Egypt that led Israel out of Egypt, was only Egyptian by adoption. Hold it. Don't move. The Bible is written across 1,500 years. 40 different writers. Hold it. There, you know why the Bible is the single best-selling book ever written? Because there is nothing that man has done in the entire human history that is so aligned, despite people living in different time spans. There is nothing that we do that is so aligned. These are men with cultural differences. These are people who are across generations, 1,500 years. These are slaves. These are kings. These are prime ministers. These are fishermen. John didn't even have formal education. Yet, it is so shrinkenized that man cannot explain why it is so shrinkenized. So you know the next best thing that man do? Like the devil, their father, seek to destroy the book.
But is it, Pastor? I have to go. But I've been saying this for the last 20 minutes. Let me say this, some Pastor. One thing. People, here's the confusion, people. And when you talk to people who are religious and they have studied and they have their PhDs, and I'm just a little citizen.
I don't have a PhD.
No, I'm not saying you do. I'm just saying in general, there are people out there with their.
I'm just letting the people know. I only have a bachelor's of arts in religion.
Right. So let me just say this, Pastor.
That's all I have.
So if we're saying that God was the first, right, on the planet, or in fact, not the planet, the universe. God was here. God was never the first. No, God's always been here. God's always been here. It's always been here, right?
Because
yeah, God's always been here, right? Wait, hold on, people.
If you say he was the first,
no, not the first. He's always been here.
That means you're restricting him to time and space.
Yes, that's true. Time is man created. Time is man created.
So time is
man created. Time is man created. Trust me, time is man created.
Time is God created, given to man.
All right, say that. Okay. Man created. Yeah, God.
Could make time, Frankie. If man could make time, the days, especially me, my day would have 32 hours.
All right.
When yours have 24.
All right. Let's say God created time.
Man cannot make 1 second of time.
So here's my question to you, pastors. Let's say God created time and gave it to man, and man then construct it the way they construct it, right? Maybe they didn't execute it right. So, Pastor, wait, Pastor. If God knows everything before it happens, right? You agree with that?
Yes. So
God is everlasting, know everything before it happens. So people, listen to this, people, because it gets difficult to know people. Boy, I want to talk about this long enough, but I'm gonna have the time. But anyway, so God knows everything. Wait, Pastor. God knows everything before it happens, people. So it's not something where something happened and God didn't know it was not gonna happen. And man and human beings in general are special to God. Are they special versus other animals, or just everybody's the same? All animals are the same.
No, all animals. By the way, hold on. The animals were created. You see, you're going into something now where language creates a challenge.
Okay.
The animals were created. Mankind was made from that which God created.
Okay. So why, if God knows everything where it happens, why would Lucifer occur? Why would we have a Lucifer?
All right. Hold on. God, the sovereign God that he is, has the ability to choose. So in creation, he decides which being to give reasoning as against instinct, to give choice as against discipline, because choice has discipline, but there are those that are more nature bound than nurture bound. And I'm talking, all human beings are impacted by both nature and the nurture. But in terms of the animal kingdom, which was created, they have instincts. They don't have what you call a rational brain to think out things and process things. They are instinct driven.
Well, Pastor, you still not answer my question, no? I don't care about wait, Pastor.
I am saying the reason.
Pastor. The reason is not logical.
Lucifer,
it's not logical.
As he is, and we as we are, is that God determined who to give choice to.
Right. But Pastor,
you have the ability because you
Pastor. No, Pastor. You're missing the point though. So it's Ernest. I used to live in the Bible, Ernest. I stopped reading years ago. Still living it. I was forced to read it 24/7 from back to cover. Stop reading, probably forgot about it. Here's a question, Pastor. If you can tell me right now, when you made me, you know everything I'm gonna do. You know what the outcome is gonna be. You can't tell me you have given me choice because you know my choice is gonna be. So you set me up to fail.
No. He give you unbounded choice. You can choose to succeed. You can choose.
But why give me that choice then? If you know me, if you know I'm gonna choose, why give me that choice?
Frankie.
Yeah.
Frankie, God is not robotic. God transcends robotics. He has free will. He wanted sections of creation to be closely or closer related to him than other sections of creation. It's his choice.
No, but God should be. No. You can't tell me that God. Wait. Tell me God.
You're trying to make God into who you want him to be.
No. I'm talking about the people. No.
Frankie, hold on.
No, Pastor, you're wrong.
Creation cannot. Frankie, this is where man fails. Creation cannot dictate to creator. We do not have that right, nor can we take that position. It is demonic. That is where the devil fell from heaven. That's where Lucifer got kicked out of heaven. Because creation takes the place of creator.
Wait, Pastor, where's this heaven you keep talking about, Pastor? Where's this heaven?
Frankie, 20 minutes ago or 25 minutes ago, I told you to leave this for rational.
You know what? Let's do that. Let's people. We're gonna have a discussion, me and Pastor, on balanced views sometime in the next.
I'm not going to do. Let me promise the viewers this. I am not going to do what Frankie's Presbyterian pastor did, or his great grandmother did. I am going to value every question that you ask, and even if I need to get help from other Bible scholars to find the passages of scripture that I foundationalize my answer on, that is what I am going to do. Okay. And you will not have a question that the Bible doesn't answer, including those that science cannot.
Yeah, people tell me to read it. I used to read the Bible a lot, but I don't do it for a long time for a reason. It's probably because the Lord knows where the direction I'm going to go in and allow me to go in that direction. But anyway,
Frankie, listen to what you have done.
yeah,
Your fan base is in Nigeria.
Kenya.
It is in Kenya,
Yeah,
Canada, the United States, England,
yeah,
and to a lesser extent Jamaica.
yeah.
You have now started Bible class internationally.
Okay, we're gonna have it on balanced views though. We don't want to do it on sports channel.
That will make up for the years you stopped reading Bible, because this I know about you.
Yeah.
To be able to hold your own in a conversation, because I don't debate Bible. In a conversation, you're going to read, so you'll need to start reading the Bible again.
I will admit that to have the conversation I may have to do some investment, which will be hard to do. Yeah. I will agree with that.
I don't see you as a person that's going to want to be foolish internationally. So you will have to. I'm just letting you know. Or
I could just use logic versus what's in the Bible and come to the same direction. Somebody saying that, Cranky, somebody don't believe in God. I'm not sure where you draw that conclusion, Youngski, if I'm being curious and ask questions which are logical. And I think, as Pastor alluded to earlier, sometimes, and I would agree with this, logic goes out the door because life is not logical. But anyway, the things in life that we do may be logical. Life itself is not logical. I'm going to say that right now. Not logical.
Man by himself sees everything he cannot explain as illogical.
Yes, possibly.
And
yes, that is true.
That's how we define logic.
Yes, that's how you define logic.
Because we can explain it, we find it logical.
Yes. That is true in a lot of respects, actually. If it lines up a certain way, it all depends on how we've been taught. That's how we've been taught. What we have learned and experiences that we have had as people, and we transition that to others, and they learn it, and the thought process is sequenced in a certain way, then it's logical. Otherwise, if you can't explain it, like the concept of life itself and how we got here is not logical. But God is not logical, actually. God is not logical.
You cannot explain God.
Right. You can't explain God, so God is not logical.
Because you can't. You see,
not as life, by the way.
This is why I said to you earlier, you're going into where language creates hiccups and issues for us. Because the English language, is probably the language that steals the most from every other language. And that is why the syntax in English is what it is.
Yeah, people don't understand in this chat, and people start saying things about, believe in God, you don't do this and do that. People, just like you. Wait, Pastor.
If you did not believe in God, you could not have so many questions about the existence and the characteristic of God.
Yeah, but here's the people. They've been taught a certain way. They think a certain way. A lot of people are. And if you ask any question which doesn't fit into a certain... Outside of certain boundaries, they lose their mind. Because you know what? They've been taught not to ask those questions.
It's not taught cultured.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
It's not taught cultured.
Yes.
But here is what happened. The Bible is not restricted to any one environment. The Bible speaks about the heavens and the earth and the other creations of God, which are outside our hemispheres.
So Ted Dexter said, Cranky, see what you're doing? You're having an international church. Hey, I tell you, a friend of mine is part of some group with an African preacher. He gets the most viewership. So you know what? Maybe I should have this dialogue to get some, because I'm not giving them viewership and not giving them like, and not giving them, so maybe I should have this discussion. If we want, you know what? I'll change. You know what? I'll change. I'll change balance views to do some of this thing, because people are passionate about these topics. They want to be involved in the conversation. They're just as curious as I am. A lot of them, even though they may be very religious, they still have the question. Some people are in church, and just because they're afraid that their daddy go to hell, that should not be a reason for being in church and being religious.
But God does not accept you serving Him out of fear.
I know, but a lot of people they do that.
And a lot of people are guilty of living their lives that way, Cranky.
Yep. Yes.
So, I'm going to say this since you're rapping. And I'm going to call my batchmate's name. The two of us were doing children, for those who believe that there is a challenge with people asking questions. Myself and Pastor Dorian Harris was doing children's church at Mandeville Seventh-day Adventist Church. And a 12-year-old girl was fresh out of seminary, children's church we do. A 12-year-old girl asked the two of us a question, and we had to table it for another day. We couldn't answer her.
Say it again, Pastor. Say it again.
Fresh out of seminary,
Right.
myself and my batchmates were assigned to the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Mandeville on Caledonia Road. We are doing children's church, so nobody over the age of 12, 13 is present. The two of us there were asked a question by a 12 year, I'm not even sure if Natasha Wright was 12 years old at the time. Maybe 11. And we could not answer her from the back. We had to go research it.
What was the question that she asked?
I don't, Frankie, the things threw me. I don't even remember. Maybe Harris will hear this and chime in when we have that conversation. The things, it humbled me to the point where I had great respect for the congregants that I would meet, because this was my first assignment.
Right.
Out of seminary. It humbled me to the point where I developed great respect for the congregants that I would meet in my ministry. Don't ever postulate that you are the authority on anything as it relates to spiritual growth and development or the Bible, and that you know it all. Because as I said, there were two of us there, and Darren Harris is very well read in the scriptures, brilliant pastor at Seventh-day Adventist for years before he went to seminary. In fact, he was a Bible worker, so he had to do a whole heap of Bible work before, and we could not answer this child. So ministry is a humbling discipline, but we have had good teachers, and we still have the best of teacher in the Holy Spirit. So any question, every question, we'll answer because the Bible answers.
All right, nicely, Pastor. Thanks so much for the church. I think we have had the church for almost an hour. We appreciate it. By the way, everyone, I appreciate you being here. Hit the like button before you leave. I appreciate everyone who stayed to hear this conversation, because we did digress from sports. When I'm transit this someday to Balance View, I can have a much more extensive and expansive discussion with Pastor. I'll make sure I'm prepared for that discussion, which may entail, I will not be able to read the Bible and bring forth the quality of the conversation I'd like, because I won't have time to do that. I know this. And I want to read the Cliff Notes version too, because knowing things in detail and be better informed, so we can have a good conversation. But we'll have a good conversation just in terms of my general question, right? But I think it's important to have some of these dialogue, even though we're talking about sports, because people sometimes have questions. Even love people who are very religious and people, them have the question in them, but they're afraid to ask it. Because if they ask it, then they're going against what should be from a spiritual standpoint or a religious standpoint. They're blaspheming is what they're told. And that's how they grew up. That's what they've learned. So therefore, they don't ask the question.
Not so to do.
They're cultured not to do that. Don't ask the question. Don't challenge, because then you're blaspheming. And that's heresy, frankly. And I understand that concept, but I don't live my life that way. And the older I got after 12 years old, the more I started asking questions, the less I get answers, the more I got frustrated. So it's about curiosity.
Well,
so, Pastor, I appreciate you, Pastor. Thanks a lot for being here.
You are welcome.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it. Have a good night. And I was told one time you shouldn't play this type of music, but I'm gonna play my cranky live before I go. I'll play my cranky live before I go, people. Have a good night, people, and thanks. Bless up. Bye. Bye, Pastor. Frankie Life is the best to be now. For the best sports talk, and it's free, yo. Frankie Life will be your guiding light by keeping you informed both day and night. Frankie Life, tell them. Frankie Life, heed them. Frankie Life, want them. Cranky live. From the courts to the field, we'll never lose because Cranky has the hottest news. With expert analysis, we break it down. Our in-depth coverage is best in town. Cranky live. Feel them. Cranky live. Heed them. Cranky live. Want them. Cranky live. Cranky live where the sports is spicy and where we keep the discussion lively. Cranky live. Get to know the name because Cranky analysis is never lame. Cranky life, give me my Cranky life. I want my Cranky life. Must have my Cranky life. Whether it's football or track and field, you know Cranky is at the wheel. So join the journey through victory and defeat and subscribe and don't miss a beat of Cranky life. Tell them, Cranky life. Heed them, Cranky life. Want them, cranky live. If you're from England or USA, from Kingston or Bombay, from Kenya or Canada, Lagos or Havana, visit Cranky Live. Tune into Cranky Live. Like up Cranky Live. Subscribe to Cranky Live. Cranky Live. Coming to you on weekdays. Cranky Live sometimes on Sundays. Pull up a chair and take a seat because Cranky will always bring the heat. Cranky life. Me say fi tell them Cranky life. Me say fi heed them Cranky life. On them Cranky life. Cranky life will be around. Cranky life is the best in town. Me say fi heed them. Me say fi want them. Me say fi heed them. Want them, heed them, want them. Cranky life. Cranky life. Heed them, want them, heed them, want them. Cranky life. Cranky life. Heed them, want them, heed them, want them, heed them, want them. Cranky life. Cranky life. Cranky. Heed them, want them, heed them, want them. Heed, want, heed them.